Good. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting on Monday, March the 2nd, 2026 at 7:01 p.m. Ms. Derry, would you call the roll for us, please?
Certainly. A.C. Brown?
Here.
Ralph Meeker?
Here.
Tim Terry is absent. Roger Rainwater?
Here.
Steve Tedford?
Here.
Rod Powell is absent, but we do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. If everyone would please stand, we'll begin our meeting this evening with a prayer led by Chief Brad Hobbs and our pledge by Chief Stuart Bryan.
Father, we thank you. We thank you for our city. We thank you for our elected leaders. Thank you for the department heads. We pray that you'll give them wisdom and guide them. Be watchful over them. Father, we pray for our country, our troops overseas in the Middle East. Pray for peace and all these things we ask.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Excuse me. At this time, I would ask council to consider approval of the minutes for the February 2nd regular city council meeting.
Make a motion to approve them as written.
Second.
You have a motion and a second?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you very much. Recognitions and acknowledgements. We were talking this morning in Greenwood Junior High School freshman boys basketball team is conference champs, so that's pretty cool for those guys. Congratulations. And I want to recognize, although he was very reluctant to allow me to, but I get to do it. Our chief, Brad Hobbs, now has the fourth generation serving in our armed forces, and Carson Hobbs not only is serving but is an honor graduate from the airmen. So, yeah, that's awesome. We discussed how he became honor student, and it's not Brad, it's his mom, right? Okay, so that's cool, very cool. We're proud of you and your family. Committee reports. I didn't look this afternoon. I think everybody pretty much except water, wastewater. I don't know if they got theirs in or not.
We didn't get water, wastewater,
Okay.
or street, and the boys club.
Okay, so we're missing 3 there, but
Oh, building.
building, okay.
Yeah.
So if there's questions you have concerning those, please let me know, or Danielle, and we'll try to get those answered for you. So they're obviously not all in your packet. So I want to recognize, I know your name, sir, but I'm just going to make sure I do it right. Adam, where are you? Watson?
Adam Watson.
Watson, thank you for being here again. Did you want to speak tonight on anything?
Just for a quick second.
Sure,
if you don't mind.
sure.
So I came to the sales tax town hall a couple weeks ago and didn't get to meet the full council. So I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Adam Watson. I'm the independent candidate for State Senate District 26. Tonight I'm really not here about politics. I'm here just as a citizen of Franklin County. And I wanted to bring up Resolution 124-39 that y'all passed November 7th of 2024. That was 7 days after the governor announced the prison in Franklin County. And y'all passed a resolution standing with the citizens of Charleston and Franklin County opposing that project. It was before us as citizens knew enough to be opposed to it for any good reason. It was before we did any organizing against it. And it was really impactful to see somebody stand with us from outside of the area and to recognize the issues that we were having. So I applaud you for having that forethought. Thank you for your public service and encourage you to keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Also, that has signed up this evening on our, am I there? No. Yeah, I am. Citizen Forum. I don't know where I'm at. Ms. Lori Ransom has signed this evening. So, Ms. Ransom, if you'll come forward, state your name and address, we'll have you on record. did.
Did.
Yes, I've had trouble doing that. I do always have a recording of all meetings, but the one on YouTube is not acting right most of the time. But it's sitting right now, so hopefully.
Oh, yeah, I think that works better. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Lori Ransom, 1200 Excelsior Road here in Greenwood. I want to first say I'm not a zoologist, I'm not an animal biologist, I'm not a veterinarian, I don't do any of that stuff. However, the last meeting, there were some concerns raised about the outdoor cats, and Chief Hobbs went over the new animal ordinance. This thing is like
You can turn
right
it
right in my face.
There you go.
Okay, there, now I can see everybody else going like this, okay. So there was concerns raised about the wildlife impacts, disease risk, and all of that. So I just wanted to, go over that a little bit, and I know there were some questions from A.C. Brown. I don't have all the answers. Mr. Meeker might have more answers, I don't know. But anyway, the points raised were, they're valid concerns that were raised about free-roaming cats and the impact to the environment and disease and all of that. So the question really isn't whether or not there's any impact, but how to, manage the cats that are here right now. The unmanaged cat populations can grow, roam, fight, spread disease, leading to more complaints. Managed TNR colonies, on the other hand, they're sterilized, vaccinated, they're ear-tipped and monitored, which reduces all of those things. As far as the zoonotic diseases that he mentioned, I looked up stuff from the Arkansas Department of Health on rabies and toxoplasmosis, which seem to be the most prevalent. From 2020 to 2025, there's 169 reported rabies cases. In Sebastian County, there was just 5 cases reported. That's not how many, that's just how many were reported. There was 4 skunks and 1 cat. But vaccinating the community cats through TNR provides protection for the cats and the public. So I didn't know, whether or not everybody knew that we vaccinated the cats for rabies when we did the TNR. So that is done. Also, another zoonotic disease is the toxoplasmosis. And by the way, I gave you all a book last year. If you remember that, all of that information's in here about all these zoonotic diseases. So, of course, there's a lot more that this just covers the cats, but there's more, other animals transmit. So there was 10 years of cases from 2011 to 2021 for toxoplasmosis. 183 cases were reported. Now, most of these, and this is what I read on the Arkansas Department of Health, most of these cases present no symptoms at all. 10 to 20% have mild symptoms that resolve on their own. Now, this is the one where the pregnant women. That's the one that affects the pregnant women. But if you do the TNR program, sterilization, and safe litter practices, which is at your home, you don't have litter boxes out there in the community cats usually, you can reduce that environmental contamination. Now, feral outdoor cats aren't sociable, and they usually avoid people. I don't know if any of you have tried to trap a cat. They don't come to you. They just don't. So the risk of disease transmission is very low. Most of these infections happen with direct contact, like bites, scratches, or handling the cat litter and not washing your hands. Also from the CDC data also shows that poultry, livestock, reptiles, and even dogs cause far more human illnesses than cats. So responsible caretaking, hygiene, washing your hands after you're working in the garden, things like that, help to eliminate some of that. So there was the book. I told you about that. He mentioned Mr. Meeker mentioned an article he had read, and I think I found the article. It's from the Wildlife Society, and their official policy does support, among other things, the elimination of feral cats and the prohibition of feeding. And that position reflects the Wildlife Conservation's mission. But for a practical purpose for here, The responsibility is broader, public health, fiscal responsibility, which the TNR program's not costing the city anything. And removing the feral cats doesn't solve the overpopulation. I don't know if y'all have heard the vacuum effect, but more cats just move in. Even if there's a food source, they move back in. So it doesn't, solve anything in the long run. And any type of law is not going to stop irresponsible ownership and abandoning cats and dumping them. It's just not going to stop. And dogs, too, for that matter. But when I was doing research in the very beginning, very, very few cities in Arkansas have any policies managing cats. And across the country, it's the same way. So it's not that this problem is new, but there's just been nothing done about it. So I'm kind of glad that, Chief Hobbs has come up with something that might help. So, that's all I really wanted to say. But if there's no, program at all, then if you do nothing, then the problem is you don't even, kind of go for a solution at all. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted you all to please look at the book. I know you had questions, AC. So look in the book, and you can look on CDC and the Department of Health's website, too. They have lots of information on all these zoonotic diseases and things. So that's all I wanted to say.
Any questions or comments from council? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I for one appreciate what you're doing. I know it's, you don't get thanked very often, probably. You don't get a lot of calls thanking you. But thank you for what you're doing. It's made a difference from what I can tell in town. And I live out, where I live, and there used to be a lot, and I don't see them, so,
Yes, there is locations around there, and there will be no kittens there this year, so.
gotcha. So my wife won't be collecting kittens and, okay. Thank you. Okay, I meant to start out with this little speech here, but I forgot, so I'll do it right now. I feel like I'm very much preaching to the choir, but I know we have folks at home watching too. So if you don't know, and I know everybody knows that, I know our pressman here knows, we were talking about how busy he's going to be tomorrow night. But tomorrow is an important day for the future of Greenwood, of course. We will vote on whether to renew the city's 3/4% sales tax. I think the staff, Chief Chief Stewart, thank you, Chief Brian. There's been some, and Casey that's what I was trying to think of, has put out some good videos explaining what this tax is about, what it's for, and again and again and again, and I did one too. So, as you know, the tax is an important source of funds to keep our fire department equipped with modern firefighting vehicles and equipment. The equipment wears out and becomes obsolete. Staying properly equipped to fight fires keeps us safe and helps keep our Class 2 fire protection rating in place. Greenwood has one of the most beautiful and functional park systems in any small city in Arkansas. I think that's a lot due to the very first parks director there ever was, but we won't talk about that. I'm joking, kinda. No, we're not. The sales tax is the primary source of the funds that have provided the parks amenities in recent years, and it is very much important to count on for grants. That's matching funds to go for grants that Casey relies heavily on. Street Department is tasked with a tough job of building sidewalks, improving drainage, and repaving the many streets throughout town. Again, the sales tax is a main source of funds for these projects. Often funds from the tax are used to match monies from the state, money that Greenwood could not receive any if we couldn't come up with a matching portion. So your vote tomorrow is very, very important and critical. Please go and do your duty and vote tomorrow. Tomorrow is today is the last day of early voting. I'm not sure what time they close, 7:30?
5.
Huh?
The one in Fort Smith was 5. I watched 15 people get escorted out of there, didn't get to vote.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we're much kinder down here.
Yeah.
So, please vote, everybody, and say your piece on this issue. It's very, very important. So, with that, Citizen Forum we've taken care of. Mr. Tom, you are up, sir. Financial report.
Last year in 2025, February was a really eye-opener month for city sales and use tax, because that's when we discovered the rebate issue, and we discovered $115,000 was pulled directly from our distribution as a result of significant purchases that met the criteria for a rebate. I'm happy to report that we didn't feel that that was going to be the case in 2026. And so I'm going to go right to the slide that shows you the highlights. The city sales and use tax, the same period, February over last February, grew 27.75%. That is indicative of a much lower rebate than what we were even estimating it to be. The cumulative growth for the period is 15.19%. That's right now for the 2 months. Now, I will caution you again, like I said last month, 1 month is not a trend. 2 months, you're getting a little better, but I'm going to show you a graph which causes me a little bit of a pause, and I'll show you why. County sales tax, that was same period change, 4.95% over the same period February of last year. Cumulative, we're up 3.10%. I realize we budgeted 0 growth, so that is that's to our favor, especially on the operating side, which is made up of this county sales tax revenues. As far as advertising and promotion tax is concerned, they're down 1.92%, just under 2% for the 2 months, and I'll show you those statistics as well. We're getting right into it. If you look at how we fared as far as other cities within the county, City of Greenwood was one of by far the highest of the bigger cities as far as population is concerned. Barling had a marvelous February over same period February of last year, and Midland also grew. But when your numbers are that low, any amount is a significant impact, I guess, as far as percentage is concerned. But as far as we're concerned, that 27.75% is very positive, and this is what it does as far as our trend was concerned. Last year, for 2 months, we were at negative 12.52%, based on what I was telling you involving the rebates. And this year, we're 15.19% for the 2 months. So this is a very good trend right now. As far as what the actual rebate came in being, $115,000 in 2025. We're at $38,760. So it's much, much lower than what I had anticipated. I thought for sure that it would be somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000, still to our benefit, and it came in much lower. So as long as we see this kind of a trend over the next few months, we'll just have to look for the next reporting period. But I do want to show you a graph, this being the graph of what the rebates were for 23, 24, 25, and now 26. This is what caused we didn't really recover from that spike. However, this year we came in much lower, but if you'll notice in 24, the 2 peaks right here, this represents the fiscal year end December 31st, and this represents the fiscal year end June 30th. So while this went up a little bit in February, there still could be some more residual filing that was a little bit later, and it might impact in March as well. So I don't know where this number's going to go. Even if it stayed flat, we're still way ahead of the game as far as last year and what we budgeted and what the budgets are based on. Okay? So that was my caution. As far as the audit is concerned, we actually picked up $3, so we're still way in line with what our normal would be. Audit's not really impacting us as much as the rebate is. As far as the City of Greenwood's adjusted growth is concerned, if you factor back in the rebate amount, realizing that we put in placed back in as far as the distribution, if we actually collected all of that, we would have grown just about 0.5%. That's basically, instead of the 27.75, that all happened because of that rebate. So when you come down, I guess the better way of looking at it is, what does the distribution do in relation to taxable sales? So the distribution on a cash basis plus the adjusted back for the rebate, taking out the noise, what does it mean for sales? And as far as sales is concerned, we're up almost $800,000 from 26's same period 25. So for the distribution that occurred in February, we are up about $750,000, more than $750,000, or 2.13%. And that's the buying power and the purchasing power and the consumer confidence within the City of Greenwood. So that's positive, very positive. We were tanking negative for most of last year. But November and December really helped out, because December is what you're seeing here. So Christmas was fairly decent within the city of Greenwood. I don't have the details whether that's on, online sales or whether that's in-store sales. I don't have that breakout, but now as far as county is concerned, very positive. That's that 3.10% increase. That parlays right back into the operating departments, so that's more money back into their coffers that they can do, and some of the things that they were sacrificing as far as their budget was concerned. Because of that zero budget growth, they can start looking at as we get farther down. I think during your first budget review session in April, you'll be looking at potentially maybe adjusting one way or another how you want to look at their operation revenue stream, if we want to adjust it or not. As far as the combined is concerned, this is very positive. Last year, we ended up down 7.5%. We're up 9.62 right now for February. So all those numbers are positive. I did my best to make those numbers black instead of red for you. City of Greenwood's advertising and promotion. You do kind of see that in January, the average that we normally get is a little over $18,000. You see that for 22, 23, 24. This was the COVID period, so, but you do see 18,000 is about normal for a January. That was a little low. That's why it's 11.27% up over 25. We're at 15.6, but it is a short month, and the end of the month came on a weekend. So I'm sure that there's some stragglers that will come in that'll bring us back up. But if you'll notice, the 15,000, almost 16,000 is about where we normally end up. So because this was short, most of that came in February. That made up for it. So we're down 14 over the same period last year, but only 2% down for the cumulative. And I'm sure a lot of that will come in as a result of the weekend and 28 days in the month.
Tom, back to the A&P.
Yep.
That money that you report in A&P is actually a month ahead of the money that's reported from
the
city sales and use tax.
Yes.
We get an early indication from A&P, at
Correct.
least what's being spent in restaurants.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that February represents January sales. Okay. As far as cash flow is concerned, you got to realize too that the budget wasn't approved until the end of January, so there wasn't a lot of spend going on, so we didn't have as much of an impact on the cash flow in the month of January. In February, it decreased $500,000, and for the year, with the pickup that we had in January, because no one was spending against a budget that hadn't been approved yet, we're at $23,000 decrease in cash for the year. So our ending current fund balance as of February 28th, or actually the 26th, which was Friday, is $12,151,000, or just under 0.2%. So pretty much flat as far as that's concerned. Our budget, though, is to drop the cash balances or cash flow down by 60%. Most of that coming from water and sewer side for their projects they have going. They're significant players in the capital expense. Speaking of which, there's the capital. Capital year to date, we have a all-in city capital budget of $11,085,000. Capital expense for the year to date, 26, is $770,000. That's through February, the end of February. So water sewer is 717 of that, and I think most of that is sewer, I believe, or maybe it's you. I don't know that. 717 is one of the two. It was a project that had already been started and was in the works. That's water? Yeah, that's water. So their 8% of the amount that they have of that 11 million is 8.6 million. 2.4 million is the city, street department, general, and all the departments that make up the unrestricted general fund. So there's 2.4 million on the city side. They've spent 52,000. 50 of that, or just under 50 of that, is a Cub Cadet mower for the street department. That's the only major purchase there. And that's 2.17% of the actual budget so far. Those numbers will start picking up as capital projects start progressing. And as far as the contingency, I wanted to share this with you because this is something you need to see, and you're going to start seeing this every month. you've established that 15% for the, what you're saying is the contingency. You don't have an ordinance yet, so there's nothing binding that. But what we have, though, is that comfort number right there for a reserve for catastrophic events or what you would declare as a disaster. And I want you to know that when you look at where we are, for February, the general unrestricted fund had a balance of $843,000. So we're almost $100,000 ahead of where that reserve would be. Now realize month to month, if this number falls below this number, that kicks in the ability to have to fund it or triggers that would be generated, because this money technically, once that ordinance is approved, would be requiring a declaration and control by the city council to spend, and/or the mayor, given an emergency. So this is kind of a reserve. It is a restricted reserve. So that's why I'm showing you this, where you are. So this is kind of your operational buffer, is a way of looking at it. So that's your margin right there. And I'll show you that every time. You also gave me the go-ahead to move turnback out of the street department's O&M in order to isolate it. So I did that, and this is the way I've done it. You now have in front of you a street department revised budget. That is the revision for this turnback and city sales and use tax. I wanted to show you how it was calculated. We have the turnback monies for the years 2018 all the way to 2025, so I had to come up with how much of the street money actually should be transferred into a turnback virtual account to isolate that. And I took all of what makes up the requirement for what is allowed by the turnback, the expenditures for that same period of time. The revenue is 5.9 million, the expenditures was 5 million. So given everything the way it should be paid as a restricted turnback account, we would be at a balance at 12/31/2025 of $819,000. And that's what we start going into 2026 in that account. And we are now coding directly against that on the financials, and you will see that in your actual financial report. Now, for the city sales and use tax, did the same thing, but a lot of what was in city sales and use tax can also be paid by the turnback. They kind of mirror. If capital improvement project for roads can be done by turnback or city sales and use tax, but also can the capital expenditures for the equipment to pave a road or to repair a road, and the materials and supplies like sand and like the cold patch and all that they would store, materials that they need, we're putting under city sales and use tax. So we isolated the city sales and use tax monies and the turnback monies in a way that brought over the amount of money that would be construed as very definable for the years 2018 to 2025 as expenditures that justifies the city sales and use tax. And that means that balance, when you bring in a $3.5 million over that 8-year period, you have a $2.5 million expenditures for these items. So the city sales and use tax money would be $1 million. So all that said, this is what changed in your street budget. At the end of December of 2025, there was $2.6 million in the street fund, which was made up of these three accounts: street, sidewalk, and city sales and use tax. But when I redistribute the street O&M, which included the turnback, you now have a 593 balance in there for the O&M side, salaries, office supplies, various other sundries that are not related to streets. Your sidewalk did not change. The turnback was $819,000, I just showed you on the previous slide, and the $1 million is the city sales and use tax. And you'll notice that all we did is redistribute it, and I showed you how. So that redistribution did not change the actual street fund balance. It's just redeployed in different virtuals. Now, when you look at the projected balance that would be in each of those funds from the budget you have in front of you, you'll see that street fund O&M checking is $98,000 left. They'll have $259 in the fund, and sidewalk still, that's an increase by 10. There's no actual sidewalk projects on the budget. There's a street turnback amount that will decrease to $748,000, and the city sales and use tax, based on some projects that are already scheduled and already being funded through the city sales and use tax, is at $511. So they're going to drop about 40% of their balance but you'll notice that none of the actual fund balances are negative, whereas before you had city sales and use tax negative. This redefines it and redeploys it where it's very easily discernible as to what monies are for what. Okay?
I have a question, Tom. On street O and M and sidewalk, in this budget that we have here, the dates are 12/31/24 for the beginning register
Sorry.
balance.
Yeah, that's
Is
right.
it just a date problem? It's not,
No, it's not, because that's what you do, start with the 24 for 25, and then it'll get you the 25 number by looking at if you look at the middle column of your budget.
well, the reason why I asked is because the others are 25 dated, and these ones are 24.
Yeah, that's probably, was that the sidewalk one, or which
The
one?
street O and M and the sidewalk, yeah.
Yeah,
Those are the only two
That's
that
just a
are,
date thing.
okay, just want to make sure it wasn't a balance that would change things and just a date issue.
We just used the template, and that date didn't get changed in there. You start with the balance as of the end of 24, you take what the amount of money would be for 25, and then you come up with what the balance is at 25, plus what you're looking at the budget for 26 to be, and that ends up with your 98,000. So it should be 24, get to 25, budget for 26, fund balance. That's how it works.
You mentioned, I think you said that there's no sidewalk project on the budget this year. Is that what you said?
Not in his budget, no.
What about what we're waiting on phase two, Hunter? Where does that stand?
That money's been in the sidewalk fund from what I recall.
Money's in the sidewalk fund.
there.
It's not budgeted,
Okay.
is what I'm saying.
And it's not because I guess we didn't get our approval. We're still waiting on some things from RDOT. Is that right?
That project's at 100% planned with the final review. They gave me notice, bid to potentially go out first of May.
Okay.
And is it less than $250,000?
We won't know that
So you get all
until we get that bid back.
But you have 250 in that
I would
fund.
guess not,
So,
but I don't know.
Plus, we have the grant.
Sure. Okay. I just didn't know where that, I know we're working on it, have been working on it. It's taken forever. So, okay.
I'll get with Tom tomorrow.
Okay.
plus city sales and use tax can fund the sidewalk department.
Right.
And the
Sidewalks
grant
is a,
amount is how much?
I can't remember.
200 or 250?
I want to say 250, but I could be wrong.
And it was 50/50 match?
75-25.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay,
you're under
or
that.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
but it's
80.
a reimbursable grant, is it not?
Not 80/20?
Thought it was 75.
I think so.
If it's 80-20, we're in the better.
Don't hold me to it, but we'll know. Check it out tomorrow.
Is it a reimbursable grant? We pay it all and they reimburse us?
The grant that came from 2020 before I came here that I just took over.
It should be, I think.
Reimbursable?
I think so.
That means that cash flow will have to fund the whole 100%.
Right. I think that's right.
And we have all these easements.
Hunter can answer to that. Yes, I think the latest thing from RDOT was more about the bridges, right?
Okay.
On issues on right-of-ways or how to do it. But yeah, easements have been obtained, right? Okay, yeah,
Okay.
okay. And as we know, in the past, the first phase was a 500, rough number, $500,000, and it turned out to be more than that because of the time.
That's why we cut this phase in half.
Yeah,
And half is 80-20.
80, that's what I thought. Okay. That's all right. I like being right once in a while, not very often. All right, thank you, Hunter. Thank you, Tom. Just to, I won't get into it, but to squelch ideas that the city doesn't know where our funds are and how they're spent, I beg to differ with anybody that says that on Facebook or something. And if you don't have to believe me. Come and talk to Tom Marsh anytime, any day here at City Hall, and he can tell you where everything is and how we're doing it and all of that, so. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we like that. Just think, you keep giving happy news, we're gonna stand up. All right, thank you, sir. Agenda additions, We do have one, at least, maybe two.
Two.
So number 8 would be an annexation ordinance that I believe our city attorney is going to provide.
Jones Street annexation.
Jones Street.
It's not an ordinance, actually. It's
Oh,
just-
I'm sorry. And then number 9, I don't even have it down. What do we,
Oh,
Kimber?
it's a resolution adopting a consent agenda process.
That. Resolution adopting a consent agenda process. Okay? And those are the two that we had. Does council have any additional, excuse me, agenda additions?
Additional additions.
Additional, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm having a hard time. I like to think it's my allergies, but I don't, I'm not sure what it is. Okay, if not, we'll move on into the old unfinished business. Number 1 is city attorney repeal, replace ordinance number 23-17, private club permitting. Third reading, it was tabled from the previous meeting.
Do I need to remind everybody of the changes that were made, or, I mean, they're indicated in it?
This is one we took out the 1,500 for the half a year or whatever,
Yes.
and then the taxes got cut in half.
Yeah, so page 3 has that, we struck
That-
that 1,500
Under
and
B,
put
section
application.
5, yeah. And then F,
Yep.
that was it, wasn't it?
There was a little something, there's a strike of that number 4. It was a typo on section 14, page 5. And then the application has that at the top
Okay,
of the heading, and then striking a little bit of the ACA down there and putting at sec,
on the application itself.
yeah.
I don't have Facebook, where are they praising us for cutting booze tax and things? No?
Do I know,
Are
I'm
they
sorry.
praising us for cutting the booze tax on Facebook? I don't have.
No,
Oh,
no, no. No.
checking.
I haven't heard it or seen it.
We also removed any specifically numbered ordinance references in there and just put city ordinance, so we don't have to go changing them all the time.
Beautiful. I'll make a motion, we pass this ordinance by title only for its third reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Maker?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
No.
Mr. Mr.
Yes.
Tedford, sorry,
You got 2 votes.
and Mr. Powell.
Yes.
Passes by majority.
We vote often.
An ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance number 23-17, establishing a permitting process and privilege permit for selling or dispensing any controlled beverage within a private club within the city of Greenwood by businesses licensed by the state as a private club to sell alcoholic beverages, levying permit fees and a city supplemental tax of 5% of beer, wine, and 7% of mixed drinks upon the annual gross receipts which are derived therefrom, repealing any ordinances in conflict therewith, establishing penalties for the violation of these provisions and for other purposes.
Mayor, I'd like to just say for the record, I get asked all the time about this private club stuff and why doesn't the city allow it and why, and so I don't know, and I don't care if it ever happens, but this is something that's been on the books for years. So it's not like we've been, sitting out there at the city limit sign with pitchforks. I mean, if anybody wants to try, they're welcome to, or, I get asked all the time about it. It's like, and I voted against it most of the time, so just because of the requirement for foot distance from one here and there, but
Even without the permit process, which we did not have before, it was still legal. But, I mean, it's still state law.
yeah.
State law's been out there for a long time on private club. We just put in a formal process. That's,
Now, recently, the legislature has
Yeah,
removed
right.
the requirement for the 501c3.
that's right.
So now there's a more likely chance that we'll have this type of application come in, and we've got to have the pieces in place to deal with it.
The removal of the 501c3 keeps us from being dishonest. So that's a lot more appealing when you're not saying the Tupelo Gentlemen's Club is a legitimate 501c3 in your town, which we know is not. So VFW is,
Wednesday nights.
Boys and Girls Club is, Vashgrass Country Club is, so we know all that.
Yep.
Somebody had to drive.
Agree. Appreciate what you're saying. It's there now. I think the important part is we just said, the policy's in place. And we have guidelines to help you decide on that, so.
I just don't want people thinking this council trying to push this
Right.
issue. It's been
Right.
on here for
Right.
a while.
Yep, it's not new. Okay. Thank you all. Moving on to number 2 is the Police Animal Services Ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance number 23-11, Animal Services Rules and Regs, second reading.
Mayor, Council, Mayor Clerk. This is the second reading. I've made the changes. This one will reflect the, section 1A, which was, clerical error, and changed it 23-11 and put that to 2304. That was a clerical error. Then we also made a change to section 11C, changed it to reflect the police department or the city will provide a vest and a picture ID at our cost to the TNR volunteers. That was a request, I think, made by Mr. Powell. And then it made the changes to section 12C, waiving the registration fee if the animal was microchipped and registered by our animal services. That was the changes that y'all recommended and that updated. I will answer, Mr. Bob Curtis asked a question last month about reaching out to our vets to see if they had an issue with it, see if it was infringing on, any kind of business that they had. As of today, I took off last week, but as of today, we heard back from one of the 3. I was hoping to hear back from another one today, but they did. And, they didn't have a problem with it, the one, and that was South County. I have to go back to Cornerstone or Greenwood vet, Dr. King.
Beautiful.
I did a little digging too, and it's real commonly done in a lot of cities, so it's not like something new.
No, this ordinance is a lot to take. And so they provide a service and that's pretty common practice. I did like the idea of waiving the registration fee if you were gonna get it, microchip and registered with us. I feel like that's very big.
Love the mobile part of it. That's-
I love the mobile part.
That's cool.
I'm very excited. I think it's a service that we're all gonna be proud of one of these days after we iron out the
think-
small fine details. One, how we pay for it.
I think you'll see the participation will be
I hope so.
much larger than it has.
Agreed.
Any questions, thoughts?
Cover page you on.
Make a motion, we put this on for the second reading.
Second.
Motion second?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Nope.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Passes by majority. An ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 2311 and all other ordinances in conflict therewith, authorizing the regulating, the keeping, and control of companion domestic animals, creatures in the city of Greenwood, Arkansas, and for other purposes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Chief. Moving on, number 3, Finance Department Resolution, or Finance, Resolution adopting fiscal performance policy was tabled from a previous meeting.
Want to start that?
Physical performance.
Yes, physical.
Yeah, Tom had prepared this for, the council's review, and the codification committee studied it with Tom present today. And we went over all the different aspects that we felt needed addressed in there.
Bye, thank you.
I made those changes that we discussed, and mainly we tried to remove specificity in there and make it general, because when the budget is adopted every year is when the contingency reserve fund will be addressed every single time. And we also plan on putting this in front of council every year to keep it fresh, because we don't want this financial policy to just fall back in history where everybody eventually forgets about it. But we encourage council to read all of it and make any suggestions for change that they thought.
Yeah, we're not asking for the resolution to be acted upon today, because I'd like to have your feedback, but some of the things that we actually changed, most of it was in the reserve policy, starting with 31. There was the 15% that was listed in there, but we didn't want to put a percentage in the policy if it's going to be reviewed and approved at the time of the budget. You have the prerogative at that point to establish what that percentage will be based on the budget. And we didn't want to have a document that hard-coded an actual percentage in there unless you feel you want a hard code in there. That's totally up to you. So we put the wording in there to purposely give you the latitude. 32, where it says the contingency reserve will be maintained at not less than the stated percentage of estimated operating expenditures adopted in the current year's budget. And that would be either a percentage, or you could even opt to come up with a number of whatever you do, whatever you approve in that budget is what this is saying becomes the reserve. Number 34, there was some confusion in the way that was originally worded. It says that the contingency reserve balance exceeds the contingency reserve amount by 25%. In other words, zero of the amount that is restricted reserve up to 25% is what I consider the operational buffer. That's the monies you have to buffer your operations with, and that's not to be used for any pet projects or something that you think you can go ahead and spend. That 25% is the number I put out there. That's a number you can establish, that totally whatever you feel comfortable with. But that 25% says anything above that, you have options to do with that money. It could be on a budgeted item that was pushed aside because of the funding wasn't there, and we actually had increased revenues, and now it's there, and you can decide based on what's listed as criteria here. Couple other things that we talked about was the wording for the replacement equipment replacement reserve. Right now, I wouldn't think that that's something that we would be entertaining because of the margin that we're operating under right now. To say we're going to also throw a whole bunch more money aside into a replacement reserve, it's not there to throw aside right now. Your margin is right now $100,000 buffer, and you're not anywhere near 25% more on top of that. So those are some of the things. There's also discussions in here about debt. There's also discussions about the revenue policies, the budget process. I wholeheartedly recommend that you go through and read this, because it does have an impact on some of your discussion that you're going to have on this ordinance that you're going to be looking at today for reading number 2. So it has been vetted through the codification committee.
Probably ask for a motion to table.
I'll make a motion to
Okay.
table it.
Second. A motion is second.
Was that AC?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Unanimous.
City Attorney, he's asking me if we should put this on. Is that what you're asking?
It was put on for its third reading, right? We voted for it.
Yes. Yes, third reading. Correct, gentlemen?
Which one?
What we just did.
The alcohol ordinance?
Yeah, that was the third.
That was third reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it say second, or is it okay?
No, I think, no, I may have.
It's all good?
missed it.
Okay.
We're good. Thank you. And by the way, the codification, I get to sit in on those meetings, and that is educational, to say the least, and the group that's in there work diligently and worked well together to come up with these suggestions to bring back to you. So there's a lot of good work in that meeting.
I think I'm impressed.
Yep,
That's a very helpful.
Yeah.
Kudos to Travis for getting that going,
yep. Thank you, sir.
even though it causes a lot of work on my part. It's a
But
helpful
but
and
it's
productive.
working well, yeah. Okay, where am I? 4?
And by the way, the codification committee minutes are in your folder on the left side from the prior meeting that we were in February 17th. Just so you can see kind of the content of what we're talking about.
Okay, number 4, finance ordinance establishing contingency reserve fund, second reading.
You want to talk about your changes?
Oh, sure. Codification committee reviewed this again today. We came up with a few changes even since last time this was read for the first time, so this is the second reading. Mainly, we noticed that the terminology was inconsistent throughout, so I decided to just call it contingency reserve fund, if that's okay with everybody. We, removed the specific 15% on page 2 and just put a percentage in there. And then one main part is in section 5 that we talked about a lot today. And Travis, would you like to expound on that one?
Yeah, so we talked about situations in which you can access those funds in the contingency reserve. And we're talking about declarations of disasters. Normally, the executive would make that declaration due simply to the fact that it would be hard to get you guys together in a quorum in a disaster type situation. And if you'll notice, we changed city council declared disaster to declaration of disaster by the mayor, but the following sentence, the city council shall then pass a resolution to appropriate the funds. So there's still that check and balance. And then again, in the bottom paragraph, it talks about an emergency requiring immediate action. We talked about today if a kid was down in a well 40 feet and we had to get some sort of special equipment out here, obviously the mayor would make that phone call, and we wouldn't try to call a special meeting for that. We'd just do whatever necessary to save the child. And then it talks again about how you guys at the next regular meeting would appropriate the money to cover that. And that's where that check and balance is.
Let me ask you this before we lose that point. Let's say that exact scenario happens, would there be I don't know where that money, would we try to look somewhere else in the budget before we went to the contingency plan, I guess is what I'm asking. I mean, so we wouldn't have to touch the contingency reserve. I know that's certainly an emergency,
That's an excellent point,
but
excellent point.
and I'm just saying, would we try to,
It would probably need to be an extreme disaster, but that seemed like a good example.
Yeah.
it is, but I don't think it'd be millions of dollars involved. I mean, but we're talking about 50,000 probably to have somebody bringing something down there.
If it could be operationally absorbed, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, again, you guys would
You
come in
could-
after the fact and look
Okay.
at the money situation.
Okay.
and
Yeah, yeah.
Got you. Do it however you guys saw best fit.
Say no and use your operating budget.
Right, I
You
mean,
would say it in your resolution that you passed appropriating that. You would say.
I'm
take
just
it
saying
out
it
of
might
this
be
line.
taken away from some other project we had, but. Okay. I just didn't know if we're just immediately going to this contingency or this reserve plan. And
Do you think we need to add it as a letter under section 5 that says the council may choose to,
No, I mean, you got in there that we're gonna pass a resolution, so that, like you said, we would just discuss then. Do we need to
but,
go?
I mean, people might not think of it at the time, emotions are high, a disaster has happened, who knows? Might be helpful to remind us to do that in consideration
Well, I
and
mean,
not just go to the contingency fund.
hopefully we would be just good stewards of money enough to realize that we're not needing 1.6 million, we just need 40,000 we're gonna get from the fire department, whatever.
Second.
But not the tax. We're not getting it from the tax.
Not from the 3/4 cent sales tax, it would be your,
Yeah.
right. I was just thinking, if this was didn't have to be the immediate go-to, if we
Yeah.
can get it out of our normal budget.
So again, this codification committee, it talks in depth about how not for this contingency fund to be a, hey, let's go get that.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Make it, almost make it hard.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yep, good, good,
It's set aside for a reason.
right.
Well,
Tornadoes, floods,
That would be my
fires.
question. So section 5 of the ordinance that we're currently reading and number 34 of the resolution that we just read kind of conflict one another. So section 5 says that the contingency reserve fund will only be used in the event of a declaration of disaster, right? But then in number 34, it's saying that if the contingency fund reserve exceeds 25%, then the city may consider utilizing those excess funds.
that's an excess.
That's,
That means it's more than the contingency. You can't spend.
Right, but section 5 doesn't say that. It just says, it just says contingency fund. It doesn't say the excess, it doesn't say the minimum balance, it just says the contingency fund.
The excess is operational monies that exceed 25% of what you reserve. The reserve, you can't use for anything but that. But if you go over 25%, you have the authority to say, hey, that backhoe that somebody needed, we now have the money, we're above 25% cushion, so that's operating money. You control that. And you could approve a budget resolution to allow it. That's all that's saying.
Yeah,
If our contingency fund money's $1 million and we end up with $1.25 million, that 250,000.
I understand it, but section 5 doesn't say anything about.
Well, we'll go
excess.
steal it before it gets to section 5. As soon as it gets to 25%, we'll move it.
Well, it's not in that fund, is what I'm
Right,
saying.
right.
That 25% above that contingency, it's not reserved, it's not restricted. It's just, remember that 100,000 I showed you?
Yeah.
Well, that number would have to grow 25% more than the actual reserve for you to consider using that money for something that's not in the budget.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so section 5, I mean, it's basically saying if you haven't met the contingency fund level, you're not in excess, then the mayor has the ability to use those funds. I mean, he doesn't have to meet the, reserve amount. I mean, it doesn't have to meet that excess 25% to use those funds in an emergency.
You know, we could probably just remove that because it's operational monies and it would require just a resolution to come to you. And we not even discuss how high that could get.
Right.
Because you guys can entertain any resolution at that point.
Are you talking about
The
the number
25%
34, you
above.
wanna really, because that,
Number 34.
we don't need to remove the whole thing though, do we? Because touching on excess being considered for the equipment reserve. We need some of that in there, maybe just not the 25% part. To remind council that
Or
we
you
want
s-
to.
I think he's saying, make the ordinance reflect that? Because you're saying it's in conflict.
Yeah, I'm saying that
You wanna add an
it's
E?
not clear in section 5 that
We probably should.
at any
Wanna add
point,
an
at any
E?
point, the mayor can use those funds regardless if it's excess or not.
Gotcha.
So add like an E in that provisions? Ralph, would that fix it?
Clarified.
And mention the contingency balance in excess, or is that what?
Yeah, that would probably be the cleanest.
Are you saying he
But I mean,
wouldn't be available?
it's talking about
Are you saying he'd be
appropriation for
able to
purposes.
access them or should not be?
That's what we really got.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the only
He's
time-
saying if there is excess, we should still be able to get those in case of an emergency.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, so what 34 is saying is the only time that we're able to spend this contingency fund is if we're 25% over our minimum level. It exceeds the
think so.
contingency reserve.
No.
That's what it says, exceeds the contingency
That's
reserve
if
by
the-
25%.
That's if you want to use that money considering it excess. But the contingency fund, you can't use unless you do a declaration. That's why it's confusing, the way it's worded. I think I understand what you're trying to say. I was just trying to say we have an operational budget, that it's a buffer, and I didn't want, that 100,000 gives me angst that we're at right now. Because one event, if that contingency fund went into play, you'd be looking at an economic situation that you could declare a disaster and dip into that contingency fund right now. So I want to build that up. So maybe right now, we just don't even address excess. We just build the excess,
Right.
and then you deal with the,
It'd be nice if it was 2 million,
well, see.
whatever.
We took out
How would there
the,
be an excess, Tom?
pardon?
How would there be an excess? If
And-
we had unanticipated revenues above what we budgeted for?
Right. Like what's happening right now with our city sales and use tax. We didn't budget a 15% increase.
But if they
in
set that fund at a percentage, wouldn't that move with,
percentage is set based on the budget expenses. So it's hard coded at the budget.
okay.
It doesn't move month to month.
You know, we don't even have to spend money if we don't want to. We can just leave it in there.
Let's go back and look at that again. I think I understand what he's
amazing.
looking
Okay.
at.
You know,
We'll
we don't have
reword
to
that.
spend
Okay.
it all.
And why is the 15%, we're just saying a percentage? Are we saying that each year we're going to determine what the percentage
Every
is?
budget period, you will
Yeah.
do like you did this year. You will say, this is what we want, because you can make it 15, you can make it 20%, you can make it whatever, based on what the budgets come in at and what our revenue projections are.
Well, that's what I'm worried though, that we could, a certain council could say, oh, I just want to be 5%, and we're back in the
Well,
same.
You'd have to deal with my recommendation on that. I would not recommend a 5%.
Well, the reason we did that, so y'all we wouldn't have to redraft
the
the
ordinance.
ordinance every year, because y'all set that at your budget. And so this way the policy just stays the same, and y'all would just pass it every year without any change unless, because it would tie to the budget directly.
Yes, it would, but to whatever percentage we choose, I would still like to have to say at least a minimum of a percentage.
Well, that's up to you at the budget. You can lobby for that with your council.
Could that be in this ordinance, Tom?
Well, the financial policy addresses it. It talks about the budget process in that financial
Yeah, it does.
policy.
That's what,
And
it
that's
references
where
back.
the operation of this contingency reserve fund is being managed.
Not less than the stated percentage of estimated operating expenditures adopted in the current year's budget. So you control that at the budget approval time. And I will do exactly what I did this year. I'll show each operating department, I'll show what their budget is, I'll show, we can play that number all day long, just what you're comfortable with.
But I think what he's asking, Tom, is like in section 3 of the ordinance, could we put that the reserve shall be maintained at a target level equal to a percentage of the city's annual budget or operating expenditures, not to fall below 5%? I mean,
Be
I think that's
hesitant.
what they're,
Well, I was want to say,
I'd be hesitant to hard code a number in there.
well, there again, I think then just depending on the council that we have sitting, or whatever at that time, that they could just say, hey, we just want a 1%.
You gotta remember your triggers are in there too, and they automatically kick in. So if you set a 5% and you hit that, you go below that, those automatic triggers are gonna immediately force your hand on budget crunch. I mean, you've got safeguards built into that.
Well, yeah,
I
but
don't-
if it's 25% of the 5%, then it's still a smaller number.
What you're saying your reserve is gonna be, is you're gonna say it's 5% of whatever your operating expenditures are?
I guess whatever we determined it was this go-round, we said we were putting in there, to get that 750,000. We were saying we did.
5% would be $250,000. That's what you said you'd be comfortable living with. That's one disaster.
No, I'm not saying I would be comfortable with it. I'm just saying, 2 years from now, we have a whole different council, we have a whole different, finance director and stuff. I'm just saying, if we don't set a minimum, I would say at least a minimum, then, I'd like to have them go through this whole process again of trying to, set a new ordinance and saying,
Don't have to convince me.
Part of the reason why we did that at the convocation meeting is for this debate and this conversation here, but we did it so, like, if you have a big year, and you're in excess, you can raise it plus 15%, you can go 20% for that year. If you have a bad year, and he tells you, hey, we're having a rough year, you could drop it down to 5%. But you can shift, and you don't have to 15%, 20%, 5%.
Because it's then a living document, like you are deciding it based on all the factors of the budget at that time.
To me, that's based on what we've been doing all along.
No, you haven't been doing a reserve at all.
Well, okay, but you can still say, I just think 1%, that doesn't sound like a reserve to me. You know, I mean, that doesn't sound like, that's not compelling us to say, make the hard decisions, kind of like we had to do this year. We said, hey, sorry, it's been a tight year. And usually that's when things are the hardest to decide. You know, when it's a surplus year,
So
we're
it's not
full with
making it
money.
uncomfortable enough, is what you think?
Huh?
It's not making it uncomfortable enough?
Well, I'm just thinking it's
It's
just.
easy,
it's-
too easy?
It's too vague. I mean, we're saying a contingency fund can be whatever we decide that year.
Well,
That's your job. That's what you do.
I think we pretty much looked at the 20% is saying that's our comfort level. And then we've got these triggers in place if it goes down to 15%, 10%, and so on. But I don't see a problem if as a body, we feel like 20% is an ongoing target. I don't think that's, I don't think that it's something that we shouldn't state in here. Because that way, if we go for several years with 15% and then think that's our status quo, we forget the days when it was 20% and then we had this slide. So it might be good to put a 20% in there saying, you know, this is what we have used in the past and continue to look for as a guide. I don't know, that's just my thought.
If you put a hard number in there, and we talked about this, so we want y'all's input, if you put a hard number in there and say, you will do 20%, and then you don't meet that 20%.
You're not following your own rules?
Following your past ordinance.
Well,
Ordinance would have to be changed.
you know, you could.
Well, I'm
you
thinking
could-
the ordinance does need to be changed. And I'm just saying that it's not a hard and fast 20%. I'm saying a minimum. And I'm saying, you know, we're not going to go below a 10%, you know, minimum of that. And that's a percentage of the whatever operating budget we're looking at that year, you know. And so, because to me, we've always indirectly or whatever had a rainy day fund. Because we always, I think all of us had a number in mind that we don't want to get below that. But
It's
we
way
did.
below
We
it
started
right
getting,
now.
yeah, we started
Getting
getting lower
lower.
and whittling away at it. And so, to me, if you don't say a minimum of a percent, you're just saying a percentage, well, that can fluctuate from, to me, 1% to whatever percent.
It's just an easy out?
I'm just
you're
saying you
thinking?
should have like a minimum percentage to say, we will not go below this, you know,
I'd rather have a dollar value amount.
on any operating
Well,
budget.
but as your budget grows, that dollar amount, that hard dollar amount.
It's not a hard
does not
dollar
change.
amount. I'm talking
It has
percentage.
to be a percentage. And we felt like when Tom says, okay, we're starting to fall below, you know, we're gonna be below 20% this year. It was an arduous point getting to saying, okay, we're gonna make it 15. I think it should say something to the effect of, we can look at this each year and determine what, based on the ending value of the budget is, but we ideally would look at 20%, and then as we do the budget, here's the process for changing that. And then the triggers fall in there. But I think 20% is kind of like a debt to equity ratio or something. There's certain targets that companies look for. And that's a good one for us. We didn't meet it this year, and we've got a good document that tells us what we do to get to right the ship. But I think a 20% is a comfort level that I would be happy with.
Government Financial Accounting Standards Board recommends, they don't recommend percentages, that's an option for you. They say it should be 2 months of your average expenditures, budgeted average expenditures. Now, if you look at our 2 months of the budgeted average expenditures, the percentage that equates to would be 15.84%. So, but 15%, I was okay with that because you're still within that 1% of the tolerable level of that 2 months of your average expenditures. So you could go either way, but it's fine. I mean, I originally had the number hard-coded in there, and then there was a lot of talk about you have to change the ordinance every time. 3 readings, here we go.
Well, that's what we were trying to
And
do,
we were
is
trying
make the
to avoid
ordinance
that.
one thing, and then the living document,
Right.
the financial policy, make all the sticking points, like you're talking about.
Then
Because
it'd be
this is what you're gonna
resident.
see every year, the financial policy. We're gonna put it before you every year. But the ordinance just establishes this process. It says establishes the city's gonna do this.
So,
And that's where I think, you should have stated in there a minimum, because the percentage is gonna fluctuate.
I would think that would need to be in the policy.
in the policy.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that's referring to this, saying this drives it.
Y'all have all the power on that every year.
Yeah, the policy is the flexibility that we have to change it from year to year. The ordinance just kind of says that we're gonna do a contingency fund,
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
so.
A contingency fund of, and so, but it's not being very definitive though. When you say a contingency fund, I mean, we could have a contingency fund of 1%, and you say, yes, but no, the guidelines really recommend two months of the,
Average expenditures.
of average expenditures, and we even gave into that because this was a hard year that we were looking at and saying, well, we don't want to be, too restrictive. And so we've dropped it down to 15%. And so I said, I think in here we should say it shouldn't go, a minimum, of 10%. It can always be higher, sure, and then we really want to strive for 15% or maybe a higher amount, but we shouldn't say it can go below, 10%, just saying that's a minimum that we will, accept.
I still think you can put that in the resolution. I think your ordinance would say that we're gonna adopt a certain percentage, just leave it at that. We're gonna adopt a certain percentage, but the resolution could say, not to exceed 25%, not to fall below 10%. And that would give us flexibility that we could.
That you can change year to year.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what the resolution would allow us to do.
Okay, could, what you were talking, give me that standard that you referenced with the gap?
The financial accounting standard for
What was that they recommended?
2 months of your average monthly expenditures, budgeted expenditures.
Average monthly,
So we
for
took the
what
the
time
annual
period?
budget, we divide it by 12 and times it by 2. And that's, what percentage of that, of your operating budget is that? And it was 15.84%. But you were budgeting 15% for your
Yeah.
reserve, and I was okay with that because you were real close to being within the tolerable level.
Would we want to put something like that then in the resolution? Give it a reference point so that we don't stray too far from it over a period of time?
Does it already have it in there?
Been moved several times.
But aren't you saying, though, that, yes, an ordinance makes it a hard and fast, kind of, because like saying, it takes 3 readings to change one and stuff. And so, but, yes, a policy can be changed year to year. And so, again, and each year that we were dipping into our kind of reserve, we were doing that each year. And knowing that we were dipping into it and we were balancing our budget by dipping into that and stuff, because it was easy to change from year to year. And to me, I'm thinking, I want to have a little bit more guardrails on it, that it's not that easy to change from year to year, that you're saying, well, we can't go, we can have some fluctuation, but boy, we can't go below a 10%, of percentage wise. Yeah, that still, to me, leaves you with lots of room. I mean, right now, we're at 15% in a very difficult year.
Well, I guess what I'm thinking is just in the resolution where we're looking at generalities here. When you're doing financial analysis, you look at liquidity ratios on businesses, you look at debt to equity, you look at all kinds of statistics, and you want them to fall into a certain range. And this is a guideline that we could put in here to remind us of what is a target, so we don't have to say, what would 17% do, what 14% do? GAP says, here's a formula you can use to create a target. And we could do something like that in here, which is just as general as the rest of the stuff. It's not in the ordinance, it's just in the resolution. Is that reasonable?
Well, I say that sounds reasonable when you have a, 6 councilmen that are reasonable. But if you get into, different councilmen up here, that are saying, well, I think, going below that, like saying, I think 5% is reasonable. I think 2% is reasonable.
But then you're looking at a councilman's, one man's opinion versus the generally accepted accounting principles.
Haven't those generally accounted principles been present all this time?
Yeah.
So they've been in existence for,
But now that we're going through this and we're understanding where we are, is an excellent time to put this in as a reminder that there are certain things that we need to look at and say, wait, this is the ship starting to list. Let's look at that gap principle and go back to that and use that as a target.
and that's where ordinance is a very hard and definite reminder.
Yeah. Like I said, I think the resolution would be a good place for us to look at that target. And then, this is the reminder of the target, and then the resolution, the ordinance is where we would make a change to it.
Let me ask, why wouldn't you want to say it's 20%? Is that too hard? Does it run us so low on spending that
Yes.
we just cannot do it?
You have to be careful when you set that thing too high, then you start figuring out people ain't got any money.
That's what I figured, but I wanted to talk about that part of it.
And I agree, that's too high, that is too rigid. But I'm just saying, when you say a minimum of 10%,
So you're saying established by the city council through the budget process not to fall below a 10%?
below what, yes, below a
You don't necessarily want to
10%.
say it's always going to be 20% when maybe
Yeah.
some years we cannot do that.
Right,
He's saying put a bottom level on
Yeah.
it.
to put a
We
bottom
could
level.
do it every
But the
year.
bottom level really should, it moves too, because if you have a $6 million operating budget, 10% is relatively high. If you had a $4 million budget, it's relatively low. And so I don't know if that 10% is something that you want to give you that wiggle room with.
I think, well, it seemed like Bentonville, their budget was really high, but then they got below and stuff. So it's all, to me, relative to, to the size of the budget means that you're the size of a larger city, more than likely. And so that if a tornado comes through here or a massive ice storm that covers the entire city, then it's going to be even more dramatic and stuff. And so I think that,
You don't have to convince me. It's whatever you guys want. It's your ordinance.
I'm just saying, I'm not looking for a hard and fast number. I'm just saying that it shouldn't be, should never, I'm looking for a bottom floor, that we should never go below this amount. I think the optimal thing is to at least do 15, if not 20%.
But isn't that the purpose of the triggers?
What?
The triggers.
The triggers, it says, if the contingency reserve falls below the level adopted, if the contingency falls below 25% of the established contingency, if it falls below 50%, if it falls below 75%, those are the things that you do to address where you are.
But if you say the contingency is only 5%, and so let's say that, we're saying the contingency, next year we're saying it's going to be 500,000 instead of 750. And so then it's 25% of that 500,000, 50% of that 500,000. So we're saying that each year whether we call it a percentage or a hard and fast number, which I say percentage is more appropriate, but I'm just saying that those triggers only apply to that current year and that percentage of whatever you establish. And so I'm thinking, even in a hard year, we said we're going to go 15%. We'd really like to do 20%, but we're going to go 15% because it's been a hard year. And I'm thinking, okay, now the triggers are 25% of that 750,000.
50% of that 750,000. You know, but I was saying if we lowered that percentage to 10%, then it'd just be 500,000 that we're looking at.
But why would, okay. I would kind of recommend, this is for review right now. Let's review it and come back and tackle this next month and have some, you know, chance to look at it. And
And
this,
this is only on the second reading, this ordinance. It's
yeah,
not-
this
yeah.
ordinance on second reading, so, you know, we can,
Let's just table the second reading and keep on.
What I said earlier.
I'd say just keep on going. Let's the second reading and let's just keep moving forward. I mean, we can still have discussion again, so
We can-
I'll call for a vote, you know, on the second reading by title only.
I'll second it.
But,
Is that a motion?
Is that a motion?
yes,
We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Brown?
no,
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes,
Passes by majority. An ordinance establishing a general fund contingency reserve providing funding, use, administration, and replenishment, ensuring compliance with generally accepted accounting principles, Arkansas law, and governmental accounting standards, and for other purposes.
Thank you. Moving on, number 4. Oh, no, let's not do that again. Number 5, city attorney annexation ordinance for fire station properties on a second reading.
Again, this is the ordinance approving the order of the county court, annexing the proposed future fire station property into the city.
Discussion, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion, we put this on for the third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Is this the highway frontage or where the building's at? I forget. Highway frontage.
Yeah, can we get
Second,
some,
second reading though, right?
okay, can I say something real quick? I,
You say the second?
He said second reading.
Second reading. Yes, you may.
I just want to reinforce the concept of highest and best use. The property, we've got
This is already
71 dedicated to, already to a city use, and we're looking at
Okay.
dedicating sales tax generating property for another non-sales tax generating use. And this would be very long-term, and this would be considered permanent. And so when we start looking at Highway 71, that's precious stuff for us. That's meant to generate sales tax. So while, I mean, I don't have any problem with annexing the property, but I don't know that it's the wisest thing for it to be that type of use along 71. I mean, if it goes to the extent of sacrificing a retail use, I think that's, you know, we may have gotten it for a reasonable price, but to me, it's kind of penny wise, pound foolish, because we're killing the goose that lays the golden eggs.
Well, a couple things, I'll give you both sides of this argument. One, we may never have enough money to build another fire station, so it might at some point go to whatever. Two, you can go to almost any town in the area that's a decent size, and as you're going through all the stores and department strip malls, there's a fire station. So prime real estate gets wasted a lot on fire stations. We do it here for storage buildings. That was been our MO for years, and we're really good at that. But the third thing is, at some point when the 49 highway comes through here, 71 frontage, it's going to be good, but not great. I mean, so there's that. I get what you're saying, but I mean, and I would love to have a third fire station because that certainly helps
Yeah.
the infrastructure. Will we ever get to build it? Certainly, probably not to the taste we want to have out there.
I'm not so much arguing against what we're doing. I'm just saying, from now on, we need to look at a piece of property like that and say, is that the best use for it?
Yeah.
And we need to think like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know,
We've needed to for a long time, but we have
I mean,
not.
you do have to think, it's gotta be out there somewhere, right?
It's a good location. I mean, I've visited with Stewart. It's a good location for the fire station. You draw that circle,
Yeah.
and it's covering a lot of the right spaces.
I don't think, if I may, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to run, I don't think that it has not been thought about. Moving forward, I totally agree with you, with any new property that the city might have the opportunity to purchase. I think it's very important that we do that. I don't think, kind of what Councilman Terry, that property sit there for as long as it sit there.
Yeah.
And nobody, to my knowledge, attempted to purchase it. And I'm just on that property's behalf. So, and I agree. So the first thing you see when you go, what's the little town outside of the airport in northwest Arkansas?
Cave Springs.
Cave Springs, you turn that corner and right there's the fire station, and that would have been an awesome spot for a Casey's or something, but
It's across the street.
it's a big deal that your fire station is right there and able to address issues. Is there a better property for a fire station? Maybe, but I think I heard you, and I appreciate what you're saying, but you gotta move past where we are, and we have it. Now, I said the same thing about the Senior Citizens Center, and I think this fire station property would be the same if somebody came along one day and offered the city $10 million for either one of those property, and I'm not
Right.
suggesting we're selling anything, please do not misunderstand me, public. But if that case, if that showed itself, then I don't think this council or any other council would go, nah, we're good, because that's not a great business decision to make, so. But in the future, I
That would be our
totally,
contingency plan. We just spend everything else.
yeah, so, but anyway, I agree, in the future, we ought to consider every possibility, and things are gonna change when that interstate comes through, I think things will change, I mean,
Don't know what's for better or worse, but.
yeah, so, I don't know if that's worth anything to anybody, but.
I was on the committee to look for a place for Fire Station 3, and AC was too. And, you know, when you're looking for a fire station, ISO kind of dictates, it's not just a where-for-all.
Right.
You're down to just a very slim spot. You're trying to keep the most house and rooftops and businesses in that circle that we cover. So we didn't have a lot of choice. And everything else was more expensive, so that was the cheaper one. I was at a fire conference this week where they all think Stewart's a rock star, because he kind of puts it on. But one of the segments was put on by Northwest Arkansas Fire Chief, and he said, you know, we're trying to constantly get out in front of that growth, and he said, it's not that we go out there and buy the ideal place for a fire station. He said, we'll buy 3 pieces of property and then see what might work out better as the growth winds up out there. And he said, you may find out the 2 additional pieces of property just paid for your fire station because it gets so crazy, and you took the most ideal one. But ISO is your game. I mean, we play this ISO game.
I remember that circle
And-
being drawn.
Yeah, the circle was drawn. We looked at, I can tell you where we looked. We looked at Jacob Burton's property, which would have been in front of the library, so we had access to the highway. And that's the thing. Access becomes a big deal. When you start delaying time, you're delaying response. And when you delay, you know, maybe you say, well, we saved money if we put it back over behind the Boys and Girls Club. But if we delayed response getting to the scene, we constantly get graded on that response time. And when you're playing that ISO game, you're going to start getting gigged. And you start getting gigged, it lowers your ISO. And the big gorilla is Fort Smith. Fort Smith's coming at us. They're going to have ISO 1. They're going to take that intersection. Years ago, when we were at the Municipal League, before Doug was mayor, and maybe we were walking down the hall with those guys, and something come up about annexation. They said, y'all, that was you then. He said, you clowns can do anything you want up to Bear Hollow Road. You step 1 inch over Bear Hollow, we'll bury you in litigation. And they said, you won't be able to crawl out of that litigation. They said, because that's our water plane that comes up there, and you're staring at that big water tower. So they said, y'all can do whatever you want on the other side of Bear Hollow, but you're not going to step 1 inch above it. So we kind of know where boundaries are probably going to be. They'll probably fight. They paid a lot of money to James Fork for that water district, so you know they're going to fight over it. So we've got a cover up to about Bear Hollow. It become an ideal spot, to, you do have a good point. You are taking up, prime sales tax. One thing we did, we bought more land than we thought we needed at the moment. So, maybe there's when the concept plan is drawn out, and it's all drawn out, maybe there's a little corner there for a 7 Brews coffee, and maybe there's a little corner there for, something else. Pizza to go, a Domino's or something, I don't know. But maybe there are a few little corners that can work in, but until the concept plan's done, you don't really know what you need. But again, we may sit on this, and if you come up with a piece of property that we can purchase, we know a fire station's gonna cost $3 million. We know that.
We'd already bought it if it was $3 million.
But if there was another place that you thought would be comparable until we figured it out, and we could give another $200,000 for it, maybe we do it that way. But
Well, I do respect your opinion there, Steve, that we do need to be cognizant of, where our, commercial properties are and, and not really try to take them up with, city-owned properties. But also I know, you pointed out to me one time just about, where our arterials are or whatever, our main streets are, and the way I see it, with the bypass, that's really there, and the intersection there at 71 is going to be a critical spot. I think still Center Street and 71 is still a critical spot. And yes, 71 just period there's all sorts of traffic over there. It's just whether or not you have egresses onto it and off of it. Is the critical thing there and stuff. And it just so happens that we kind of acquired this property 2 times, and I think that. And it is good, like Tim's saying, for fire stations to kind of be near stuff. Commercial properties, and residential properties, and I think that's where the growth is going to be going that way, westward and stuff. But
unfortunately, a lot of that stuff on that side, as you go north, is unusable. It's floodplain unless it gets built up real high. So there's not a whole lot of room for improvement behind the baseball fields and stuff. That's all just wasteland, basically.
we did buy at more than what we originally intended to, because we bought those buildings, but the more you look at it with I-49, I mean, they're purchasing property right now all the way to Y-City. They're fixing to start blowing down to Y-City. It's gonna be a busy intersection up the road, and that station's gonna have to be a real station. We did, early on, back before we built Station 2, we toured Fort Smith stations, and that same comment about sales tax and everything, they did have one in a high-valued area. It's that station that's right there by the mall. And at the time they were building it, they took over a station that was a rural fire station by that mall was on an old rock quarry. And they said, don't ever do what we did. And they said this was the biggest mistake in Fort Smith. I think they've made bigger mistakes since, but they said, we took this over and moved into it. And then as everything started growing up, we couldn't take any more land. They said, now it's the smallest station in Fort Smith, but it's the most expensive ×2. The way we had to remodel it and bring it up to code and everything. He said, we were backing trucks out. We were living in house trailers. He said, it's ridiculous. Don't ever get in a trap right there. Well, we think we've eliminated that trap by the property that has been purchased. So
I think that's a good point there too. With even Station 2, we wish in some ways that we had a little bit more land.
Let me reiterate what I said a while ago for the general public. The Senior Citizen Center is not for sale. And we have no one that has approached the city for it. So all of my folks that I visit with out there, please, we're not selling the center, so. Do we have a motion? I'm sorry?
We do.
We had a motion.
We have a motion and a second?
Yeah, I have one really quick question.
Okay.
Travis, when it says assigning the same to wards, and I've noticed this about other annexation ordinances, it never says what ward it's in. I mean, is that just some kind of legalese that has to be there?
Yes,
I
probably.
never see a
Yes.
ward assigned to anything. I just wondered about it.
Let's put it in
Just-
Ward 3.
Just gotta have it on there.
Whichever
Not
one has the
necessarily
least
state
amount,
what ward
wait a
it's in.
minute.
Okay,
That's
thank
Ward
you.
1.
Yeah, it'd be Ward 3.
Do what?
It can be Ward 3.
All right. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
Yes.
It's unanimous. An ordinance annexing certain real property within the limits of Greenwood, Arkansas, assigning the same to wards and for other purposes.
Okay, thank you. Move on to new business. Number 6, wastewater department, resolution to amend budget for sewer portion of splash pad utility improvements. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Tanya? Yeah, there you go.
No, it'd be Ward
It
1.
should be, I think it's underneath, Tom.
There it is.
Yes, it is. The sewer portion of the splash pad was budgeted in 2024. It did not get carried over to 2025. I did not get a pay request for it till December 15th. At that time, the wastewater commission had already approved the budget. For 2026, it wasn't on the 2025 budget, and then we couldn't meet until February because of the ice, so they had to meet, approve it, which they did, to amend the budget to add the splash pad back in. It was in there, it just didn't get carried over. So now we have to come to the council. So it's something that was budgeted, and it kind of just fell out there was a lot of personnel change, and it fell out, and it needs to be put back in.
And it's being paid for by the city sales and use tax too.
Yes. Yeah, it's a capital improvement, and it, like I said, it just missed the train for 2025. And so when I went to pay it, I didn't see it in there, and so I thought technically, I didn't think I could pay it if it wasn't in the budget. And that's when Tom said, well, you have to amend the budget, but now you have to get the commission to approve it first, which they have at our last meeting, and now it's up to y'all. So it's kind of a technicality, paperwork,
Housekeeping.
housekeeping.
And we're throwing Tanya under the bus.
No, it was a change of.
Oh, okay, I was just saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
when I got here, it was already completed as far as I knew, so I didn't know, we hadn't paid for it until I got a bill in December, so.
Surprise.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the resolution.
Motion
I
and
second it.
Okey
second
dokey.
to adopt.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Unanimous.
I have a question for you,
Yes, sir.
semi-related.
Yes, sir.
So how close are we to being able to hook up the pavilion up there to get to the bathroom, on?
I didn't know we were, working toward that.
Oh, we're not.
Okay.
But we got that thing that operates off of a tank that has to be emptied out.
So is that something you want me to look into?
No,
Oh.
just,
Probably 100 yards, yes.
you think it's just 100 yards?
Well, the last manhole that I know of, to the front of the property, I don't know where the, it probably has to be in the back of the.
I bet it's big enough.
Which way?
Yeah,
I know where the last manhole is, I think you did fit properly on that.
I did ask just for fun while they were at it, just go ahead and dig
Just
a
keep
trench.
going?
Just keep going. And I don't guess
Through all the rock.
it didn't work.
no, that's Water Commission, Parks Commission stuff, and I just was curious how close
Okay.
we were.
I'll know next time anybody asks me how about that,
And
Well, that's great.
exactly how
it
far
would be
we are.
I mean, it's gonna be gravity fed. It's not gonna,
I know, it's just,
flush it up there and it comes down here.
like I said, just a big ditch.
Right.
Just need a pipe, right?
No,
Just
we
a
don't
big
need
ditch
pipe,
and
just-
some
just a
pipe.
ditch.
We're just a ditch away then.
A ditch
How about
away.
that? Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Tanya. Number 7 is planning ordinance
Hang
repealing,
on, Posey's got,
sorry,
I thought Camp had an extra comment.
oh,
The ordinance this is repealing is on your tablets if you need to look at it.
22-17, amending others, removing planning jurisdiction. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. This is a fairly simple housekeeping ordinance, aligning the city of Greenwood's standards with new state legislation. As you are all aware, the state legislature removed the planning jurisdictions from all cities, commonly known as extraterritorial jurisdiction, ETJ. This ordinance, just an amendment ordinance to any existing mention of planning jurisdiction authority, and then also repeals the planning jurisdiction ordinance 2217.
We can carry this out. There's no need for an emergency. We
No.
can't do it anyway.
Correct.
So I make a motion, we put this ordinance on for the first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Unanimous. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Greenwood, Arkansas to remove references to municipal extraterritorial or planning jurisdiction, to repeal ordinance 22-17, establishing a planning jurisdiction area to conform local law to Act 314 of 2025 and for other purposes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Michaels. Next is number 8, annexation ordinance on Jones Street.
Yes, so this is something I just wanted to get you guys in the know on, get you ahead of the game. So this is an enclave that we have right up here off of Denver Street and Jones Street. I believe there's 3 property owners. We can do this by ordinance, but there's a process by which we have to follow to do it, which includes a hearing and notice. The planning department's already ahead of the game on that, and they've got a hearing set up before the commission, but you guys will need to pass an ordinance. And so I'm asking for your proposal of an ordinance to be brought to you next month for consideration to annex this property. It's not something that has to go before the county court. It's a little different, so I just wanted to put it on your radar.
The Jones Street's the old railroad. And so you're talking about over by the old rodeo grounds? Yeah. Okay.
Both sides
So
of the
you,
road.
so you got the old concrete place
Yeah.
behind, between that and
And the shell
the
pit.
subdivision.
So it's,
Well, it's not
it's really
included.
illegal for us not to do it, to have an enclave. Having an
Correct.
enclave is illegal.
And that's why we can do it by ordinance and we don't have to go through the county court, but it's a little different. So I wanted to put it on your radar and request your proposal that we have an ordinance presented to you next month for passage.
Well, yes.
I make that, or we need a, approval or whatever, I make a motion that we proceed.
We have a motion and a second.
Who seconded it?
Roger, or either one of them. Mr. Powell?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Unanimous?
I'm trying to remember names.
No, I just wanted to know if I could have that sheet that he had.
Which one?
Just
From,
a copy of it.
from Mr. Plummer?
Yeah,
Do it now.
can I get a copy of that sheet that you showed
Oh,
just
the
sometime?
map?
For
Oh,
for
yes.
the packet?
It'll all be a part of the ordinance.
Do we have any other enclaves?
Oh, yeah.
We do. You
Here
want
we
to
go.
address that, either one, gentlemen? Or tandem?
It's all
I
right.
got about 5 or 6.
Just
We've
you.
had for 30-something years.
Just a little bitty area that's out in the county, but it's surrounded.
We have, I think, 3 other enclaves, Valley Loop, and then there's 2 on 96 going out towards Eastgate.
Out towards where?
Eastgate on 96.
Okay.
It's between Ridgecrest and Ware Road.
It's best that we just do them one at a time.
Yep. I think so. Be less.
Just, that way we only have a certain amount of pissed off people in here at one time.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there'll be one large one, you know, that,
Well, that
we-
one on Jones Street, I think, Michael Johnson owns one side and his dad owns the other side. I
yeah,
think.
this is Johnson's property.
And Jaegers. I
And
think.
Jaegers
little
owns a
bit of
little bitty
Jaegers.
corner right in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
What about
Most
the
of
one?
it's in the floodplain.
Is there,
You know, I've got all the documentation for the enclaves. It's just, you know, when we want to move on.
Sure.
that's,
Thank you,
that's
Mr. Bell.
Bean Ridge.
Moving on, number 9 is a resolution
Road,
adopting
we get into that
consent agenda process.
Issue.
You wanted to address that?
Because these are Valley
So,
Loops.
this is something I've been wanting
completely
to
along
propose for a long time, and then when we got the codification
Except
committee,
we patrol the road.
we started talking about ordinances and routine, like financial policy, this, that, and the other, that we could put in front of the council every year, because a lot of these old financial policies and things get lost in time, way back when. I can already think of several that do, but we would want to put a bundle of these things in front of you. It's a streamlining tool for meetings. Multiple cities in Arkansas do this. I think that we're big enough and our meetings are long enough now that we could find some advantage in this. And examples of what could be in a consent agenda are the minutes, the millage ordinance, the procedural rules, like 3 documents right there that would require one motion and vote to pass. And if anybody had any question about it, because they're all there, all of the documents are there, they all went out just like you would normally do it. But you would say, these 3 are non-controversial, they're easy, they're routine, we wanna pass that right there, boom, done, 3 things out of the way. You could always pick them out, pull them out. Even a member of the public could say, I wanna pull that out of this consent agenda, you know, it's all listed right there on the agenda, and say, cause I've got something to say about it, etc. Anyways, it's all laid out in here, and we talked about it at codification today. Everybody was on board, thought it was a great idea. Anybody else want to say anything about it? Please have at it.
Where is, part of it is where you, this,
Where a member of the public could say something?
yeah, where you, something could be pulled out. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
section
there's a
5,
second
removal
page.
of items on the last page.
Okay, I thought it was one page. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What, is there a state law involved in this, or is this just,
No, it's just an option, sort of like how you can run your meetings. You know, like your procedural rules say you do this, that, and the other. This is just one of the tools in the toolkit in order to help streamline and make your meetings move a little better.
Some of the things that we mentioned today in this codification meeting was, did you already say that?
Go ahead,
About
go.
what, well, I can't remember, Rena, I'm trying,
Oh.
you say it, was,
Like minutes.
minutes.
And then typical resolutions.
Yeah, things that we do every single year.
And and there may be a month that doesn't have anything on the consent agenda.
Yeah, and you don't, just because it's in there doesn't mean you can,
That you gotta have
You
it.
gotta
on
do
there.
it.
Yeah.
well, in the fourth whereas, it's a recognized municipal practice. I'm just wanting to make sure that Mr. FOIA out there says, well, what gives y'all the right just to blow through those?
Well, it addresses FOIA in section 7, consistency with law.
The public can remove it,
Yeah.
we can remove it, so she's saying all the documentation that we would normally get if we did it individually is there. Anybody who looks at the agenda can say, no, I think y'all need to talk about this. So everything's covered and it's consistent with Arkansas law, so.
Another useful scenario would be, we just started today in committee talking about the municipal code, and it's nearly nauseating to look at and see all the things that need to be fixed. And so there could be a time when we're bringing you guys 2, 3, maybe 4 corrective or curative type measures that are just basically housekeeping. They're not changing anything. They're just making it to where our municipal code is accurate. That could be another useful benefit of this.
Yeah, and you would have all of the documentation like you have now.
You'll
There's
still get it
nothing
before
hidden.
the meetings.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the resolution.
Second.
motion and second to adopt.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Rainwater?
Yes.
Mr. Tedford?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Passes by majority. Thank you, and then if, even if something passed and you felt like later that it shouldn't have, put it on the agenda and say,
Right.
nope.
Yep. Thank you, gentlemen, thank you, Ms. Derry.
Welcome.
That is all on our agenda
Motion
tonight.
adjourned.
I think Mr. Purvis wanted to address you guys for a moment. Bob
Certainly been
Bob
addressing
has
my
been our
phone.
very special guest in our department head meetings for the last 3 weeks. So we introduced him this morning as a chamber department. So
Told you y'all get tired of me, but first, a couple of good news items. This Saturday, 7th of May, 10 a.m.
March.
at Ed Wilkinson Pavilion at Bell Park, we will celebrate for the first time Founder's Day. It is the 175th anniversary of the founding of the city of Greenwood. It'll be fairly brief. We'll have some cookies and a birthday cake and some speech, a little history, and the mayor will be speaking, but it's going to last less than an hour. But we hope this will be the first time, and we hope we'll make this an ongoing event and hopefully turn it into something big for Greenwood as time goes by. But Donna Goldstein has done a lot of work to put this thing together. So y'all are all invited. We'll send everybody a text.
What time?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock at the pavilion.
Saturday.
AM?
Saturday, 10 o'clock, the pavilion.
Yep. And I'll text all you guys and let you remind you.
That's the 7th?
7th, yeah. Our actual birthday is the 10th, but that's a Tuesday. We figured best to do it on a Saturday when we can, get some people out. Second thing, a good news item. For the second time in 3 years, the Greater Fort Smith Home Builders Association has picked Greenwood as the location for their showcase house. And again, it'll be built at East Village, and Buddy's gonna build it. And as y'all know, this is the showcase house that all the home builders kind of go in on and help with. They do a lot of things, and then when they sell it, it becomes what funds the Home Builders Association for the year. So it's kind of a big deal that they picked Greenwood. We are going to break ground for that on the 20th, which is a Friday, at 11:30 in the morning. And again, I will send you guys an invite, but again, it's a big deal. We'll be out there and carry the golden shovels and go from there.
Big crowd last time. There was a big crowd.
Yeah, there were people from all over. So
You know
it's
the
a big,
number?
it's a big deal.
I know
Good.
Buddy can tell you real quick, and you probably, of folks that went through that home, the one he built before, that showcase.
Yeah,
You know the number of folks that toured that?
hundreds of people went through it. It gets a
Buddy
lot of
says it's
attention. Got a
25.
lot of people to Greenwood.
The 20th of March?
Ministerially speaking.
20th of March,
Minnesota.
11:30. Lunch will be provided by the home builders. And the last item, and the most important, where y'all are tired of hearing from me, but tomorrow's election day. Votes count. In my life, I have personally won one election by 11 votes, and I've won one election by 13 votes, and I lost one by 16 votes. I've managed campaigns where we won one by 9, and where we elected a mayor by one vote. She was dead, but we still won by one vote.
The mayor was dead, or
The mayor was dead.
Okay.
Yep. But we got her elected anyway.
Interesting.
Long story. But made to ABC News. Tomorrow, I think we've done a good job getting our message out. We've done everything we can do. I think we've done everything that was practical. The team has presented a unified message, and that was important. Everybody was on the same page. Everybody had the same answer. When we heard negatives, all of your team had the same response back to it. So it wasn't like, hey, nobody knows what to do it. Tomorrow is getting votes out. Tomorrow, make calls to people that you think probably already voted, because some of them won't have. Oh, I know Old Bill always votes. Old Bill might have forgot. Old Bill might be busy. I talked to somebody who studies polling, and he had 5 friends that he talked to after the last election. They said, oh yeah, we voted for him in the first election. Well, he'd already looked at the voter list. They didn't vote. But call people. Just make some phone calls. I'm going to send y'all a message again tomorrow. The second thing for tomorrow, we're going to do it at our office. Put your thinking cap on. Think of an elderly neighbor or relative who may not can get to the polls. Somebody you could offer to give a ride to. We're going through some lists ourselves of some people we say.
They're
so think
checking
about
on
it.
Sonny back there.
Bless his heart. Everybody knows somebody. So try to think of that elderly person or that disabled person.
Okay, so there's polling places everywhere around the area. I know for the early voting, like my daughter.
Yeah, and the principal polling place again will be at the EMT Center.
Well, would someone from Greenwood be able to stop at the tornado shelter in Ben Guerin and vote on Greenwood stuff? I was told that.
My understanding is that anybody in the county can vote at any
That's what I
voting
was.
center
Well,
in the county.
That was my understanding too, but I don't know. I'm just.
It's gonna
I'm
be,
wondering.
you'll need to have your ID, and you probably need to know a little bit more, but they can pull up, because it's electronic, they can pull a ballot up.
And it would just print the ballot for Greenwood's goodies and.
Yeah, no,
You're
it's,
right.
it's all computerized and they're all connected, so,
Based on your address.
Yes.
Whatever address you confirm is what ballot.
on your driver's license.
I was just wondering if they were gonna be doing that on election day. I know early voting,
They said they work. They said that you can go to any voting center. Now, obviously, it's easier if you go to yours because they're expecting you and you're not gonna throw it, they're volunteer election judges, so.
right.
If you go to somebody else's, expect that you're probably gonna go, what?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it is legal. Thank you, guys. I know y'all have done a bunch, but let's keep doing it tomorrow and get those votes out.
Thank you for your
We really appreciate your leadership on all this,
Yep.
here in the chamber.
Thank you, Bob.
Y'all be proud of your team. Be proud of your
All
team.
except one who said to me today he and his wife had not voted yet. Has it happened? Okay,
Have all y'all voted?
okay.
Yes. Check the list, but.
Okay.
Nobody in particular, but
They're waiting to be the difference makers.
voted the first day. And tomorrow night, we'll sit here and celebrate.
thank
Thank
you,
y'all.
and thank you for, you have led this major. I wanna do a thing for my good friend, really good friend in Cave City, Arkansas, the mayor, Jonas Anderson. If you've not met him, you need to meet him. He looks like he's 15, and he's not much older than that, but he is an amazing mayor for the city of Cave City, and they have been nominated the strongest town in North America.
Wow.
And this is due to their recouping themselves or getting back their feet under them after that tornado hit. And so I would encourage you to, I think anybody can vote, I know you can, go to their website, it's www.strongstown, that's weird, .com. So, it is an amazing community, we've been there several times. Jonas is an amazing leader, does great things, and this community rallied. I mean, I was only in the 4th grade when Greenwood got blown away, but I remember watching what I remember as a 10-year-old, us rallying, and I got to witness it firsthand with their town too. So they are coming back strong, and that's quite a thing to get nominated. I think they're in competition with, it doesn't say, just head to head with 15 other North American cities. So anyway, that's a cool thing for them. So I want to give Jonas some kudos and
You see Cave City or Cave Springs?
Cave City.
Cave City.
Cave
Is
City.
it strongtowns.org? Because what you just said didn't get me.
www.strongstown.com.
Oh, it's
That's the-
ES.
yeah.
Strong ES. Is it ES?
Yes.
Strongest
Strongest.
town.
Sorry, no wonder I couldn't read
Okey-dokey,
it.
I'm like,
I
that doesn't make
graduated here. I graduated here in Greenwood.
town.
Quit shaking your heads, people.
The tornado had a big effect
The
on it.
tornado, I may or may not have had
That
head
fourth-
injury back in
The
1960.
4th grade year was traumatizing.
I spent the best 3 years in the 4th grade.
Strongest town
So,
with 2 T's.
there you go.
By the way, their high school mascot's the cavemen.
Yeah, it is. I'm surprised it's not a watermelon.
Right.
So they are the sweetest watermelon, not the largest. That's Hope. But they, I go down there now to get, I brought back 15 or 20 watermelons last year, so if you need a watermelon, let me know. That's what I've got. I know the department heads are here. We are department reports and questions from council.
You can,
Oh,
I
man.
have a department head question.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure which department, I'm assuming it's planning.
Okay?
So I listen to, Talk Business Fort Smith every Friday afternoon at lunch. That's how I eat my lunch. And it's very informative because they give you a lot of information about Fort Smith, the River Valley. It's Michael Tilley. And he got into a segment talking about Fort Smith and how they're not being very transparent. Joey McCutcheon was after him. And then he went straight into, here are the building report numbers. And he said, he'd give it for Fort Smith, he'd give it for Van Buren, and he said, I cannot get Greenwoods. He said, they said they've software change. He said they're not reporting the numbers to me. And then he kind of went on, but he had a transparency type deal. So I was actually doing something, and I went down and sat on the computer, and I just typed him an email saying, hey, I'll follow up on this. I'm a councilman.
Who is it? Which is it? Who
Joey.
is this outfit?
Talk Business Sports
Oh,
Man.
talk business.
okay.
Tilly.
Yeah, it's Michael Tilley.
Michael Tilly.
Anyway, 10 o'clock at night, I'd walked in the house and then my thing dinged and it was him and he was emailing me back and I'll read it to you and I can forward it to whoever. I would have done it earlier, I just forgot. And it says, building permit now, numbers. Mr. Powell, first, thanks for listening. Second, we hope to be able to gain incorporated Greenwood numbers. The city is an important part of the region and has an impact on the regional economy that needs to be included. We were initially told that the December and the 25 year-end report was not available because it was stored on the old system that was no longer available. For the January numbers, we received a .csv file that provided no project totals and would only assign a valuation to new construction. Reports with the old system provided a monthly total of all permit values, including renovations, additions, etc. for housing, commercial, industrial, and other types of construction. And he says, if there's anything I can do to communicate better or make the process easier for all involved, please let me know. We would love to keep Greenwood in the monthly report. So whoever reports that, I appreciate. We need to be part of that.
Sure.
And I never understood that we were getting any new software. I don't understand what the software deal was. So
Can we address that?
is this a planning deal? Who?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So,
My contact there is Tina,
it's what?
Tina Dale.
Oh, I just sent him one to Michael
she's
Tilley,
with-
and he emailed me back.
I'm assuming that that's her boss, but I did
Michael
not
Tilley
have.
would be her boss.
Yeah.
It's his program.
Yeah, so I send out emails every month with our permit reports, but I did not get December's full permit data due to an issue with our previous permit software.
Okay.
And I gave them that information as much as I had, everything from January up to that point and all the way through November of 25. And then January's report was missing that critical data. Tina emailed me, I turned around, it took me about a week, and I got her another report back. I had to create a custom one and call the software company, but we got that fixed, and I just sent out the report while the council meeting was going on earlier. So,
Okay.
they are getting them,
They are getting.
yeah.
Okay.
I just had to fix the report for January, and then I'm hoping that February
you
is
can-
correct.
You can go on his website and listen to his broadcast, and it
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
have been Friday. I missed this Friday's because I was at fire convention, but it was the Friday before, and it'll be on. You can go into, he's got Jonesboro, Little Rock, and he's got Northwest Arkansas, but he's got Fort Smith, and you can listen to it. And it was just the fact that he was following the transparency problems of Fort Smith.
Yeah.
And so we need to do everything we can to be very transparent.
Sure.
And I'm sure he could formally have an FOI, but that's no fun. Let's just report him the figures.
Yeah, if he FOIA'd, he'd get the same information I
If-
provided.
Whatever this dot
Sounds like there may be a
CSV,
Communication gap in
It's
this.
a CSV file out of.
It's an Excel file. That was originally requested of several months ago, and they didn't have the capability out of the old software. This new software did, and they didn't like it, so.
well, if you have time, please follow up with them and make sure they're
Yeah.
getting these numbers.
I will.
And, because it didn't sound good for Greenwood. So,
Yeah, they've put it out several times that I didn't report the December numbers after I've explained why I didn't have them.
Yes.
But
and it sounded worse for Fort Smith. So,
All right, thank you. Anything else for department heads? Yes, ma'am. You're asking your own question. Oh.
how'd you figure that out?
That's close.
Him on a golf course. He can't.
So seven football field.
7 football fields.
Long ways.
That's a long ways.
100 yards, give or take. Yeah.
Is the tank in the front or the back of that thing? I mean, the hookup.
It's about
if it ever
1,000
was
yards,
hooked up.
so you're close to.
The holding tank, you're talking about it's on the,
Feet.
if you're facing it, it's on the right-hand side. end of the building.
3 feet
That
to
whole-
the
At
other.
least it's in a good location. At least it's in a good location.
You were in the bell.
We just need a that.
You were in the ball
Ballpark.
field.
He was in the ball.
Ballpark.
He said he was in the bell park.
He's in Bell Park.
I was in the park,
Yes, you were.
so, you know, I don't know what sewer going for, but $100 a foot, that's gonna pay 5,000.
Yeah.
That's probably gonna double, like looking at $5,000.
Yeah.
Just keep the trucks
Cause
going.
that's a lot.
They say there's a little rock up there.
There's two kinds of rock up there,
Hard and harder.
really, really hard.
Yeah. I remember watching, when I was a parks director, watching some of y'all remember
That
that
gigantic saw.
giant trench move about from here to that podium in a day and a half, trying to dig that.
They would spend, in some areas when they hit that white stuff, they would spend 2 to 4 hours
Yeah.
from here to Tom's desk, and they'd just be replacing things they were burning.
That white rock's the hardest.
Diesel, just
That was, that was, that was one of the best jobs he ever bid on. And he loved every minute of it. Good one and good one.
Really?
No.
Okay.
See, we did it as well with, water line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We did some, and then, of course,
No, he hated
somehow I got talked into trying to hammer some holes up there.
Yeah.
Somebody,
This guy. I don't know who that was.
our little bitty hydro hammer would just take a little chip off about that.
Chief
You did a
Brian,
good job.
most people may know, and some that were watching may not know. Obviously, we had a little wreck out there at 71 and Center the other day. And I got asked about all the blue stuff that's all over the ground. And I mentioned that the Bermuda will be real nice out in that area. But that was from grass people's,
It's fertilized from Greenwood.
yeah. It's okay. Somebody asked me what it is. I thought originally, I was like, maybe there was an oil spill and it was some kind of, but then I got out there and saw that it was, yeah. Yeah, right, okay. I just kind of want to put that on public record for those that are watching and kind of wonder what all the blue stuff is out there.
We'll have sod on Highway 71.
Might look
Chief,
into getting
Chief, while you're standing up,
traffic
we're
signal
talking
out there.
we're talking about accidents in that area. So with Brahms, right now there's only one ingress and egress to the curve. What, where are we at with the fire
Both the
chief?
chiefs.
So we're meeting, if I'm,
Come on,
yeah.
get up there, Brad. Get up there, baby.
I mean, I know Brahms is gonna be done here pretty,
He's not here, but we actually met with, Mr. Burton, cause he had the same concerns about that, and we gave him our advice, that you're gonna have to rework that intersection, and to where it's most likely gonna need to be 2 lanes, so you can, until you get past Tractor Supply. It's to be determined, it's gonna be,
2 lanes on each side.
at least on the one side coming into town.
As much as I hate the
To
two,
get past, so people making that left-hand turn, because right now, if you are sitting in traffic to go across, you know, to make a left-hand turn, you're gonna block traffic out to 71.
well, I'm talking about if you're pulling, if you just got you a hamburger at Brahms and you're going to pull out and an accident happens there, how does everybody who's at the library and at Brahms get out? Because there's only one way in and out.
well, there's a
That
road
won't be,
access.
that won't be always, I mean, as of right now, it is,
Yeah.
but don't they have,
You can get out.
they
like
have the
back.
dirt road that
Yes.
is available
Two,
to
I think.
use?
Will
going
people
out.
be able to use that road?
Unless it's raining.
That may be a Hunter question.
For an emergency, yeah,
Emergency,
they would.
yeah. So if I
We
may-
would probably
Let it
reroute them if we could through there. If not, we would just work it like we do any other traffic accident. It's just gonna be a tough sandwich to eat for 15, 20 minutes, and it's gonna be tough for
So
a
we
little
met
bit.
with, sorry, Chief, the Chief's right, we met, were you in there, Chief, the other Chief?
It was me, you, Hunter,
Hunter,
and,
Cheryl Garner, and Jacob, Sonny. And so we've got, I had calls into RDOT, we're waiting for, and Jeff's not here, but he was in there obviously too. We're waiting on some confirmation back from RDOT. We can look at it and kind of guess where our, you know, that's our street now. but obviously some of it coming off the stoplight coming up is still RDOT. So we're working with them and to wait to hear their suggestion and to make sure, because what's on ours, we can do what we choose to do, without RDOT's permission necessarily, but we want RDOT to be on the same page as we are to make something work. So, and you're right, it's opening in April, probably, last of April or something. So it's gotta be addressed quick and soon, and phone calls have been made, and we've been out there a couple of times trying to.
Oh, if, the street director came back and got a price on what that would cost to do or to make the 2 lanes at least and get past Tractor Supply. Be nice to even get past the Walmart intersection to where you're coming over a blind hill.
School traffic, go all the way to the Westwood if you're gonna do it.
So we've gone.
The Westwood traffic has gotten better with the new
That's right.
road.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
I'm out there, so I know.
That has gotten better, and people are getting more accustomed to how that works. So that has dramatically improved versus what it was. But you're right, this is gonna be a little tough at the very beginning.
Well, I can remember, I'll toot my own horn, many, many moons ago, whenever we started to talk about the curve and putting in this stupid stoplight out there because there's some stupid people can't drive and all this. And then and then this pretty Greenwood sign was gonna get put up. And I thought, we're gonna need to get with the highway department and redo the whole area for the stupid stoplight and the curve. Because it's gonna be a mess if it is by the rendering we have. And everybody's looked at me like, you're just the fat idiot that yells touchdown. And so here we are trying to figure out how to.
I'm not an engineer.
You weren't even on, you were just a
Right.
regular old copper back then.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, Hunter and Mr. Sonny and my mind went blank.
I tried to
Street
address this
director,
10 years ago. Just that's what I'm getting.
Jeff, I'm sorry.
So what's wrong with our planning process when we're here at the end with emergency services out here saying this is fixing to be a disaster? This is why we have a planning commission.
Tried to bring it up.
We're not the planning commission. This should all been done a year ago,
Throw a stoplight up right there.
you know, and we don't build all this stuff. Developers build stuff. If you put in a mall, we don't build all the roads and parking lots and all that egress and all that. The mall does, not us.
But it was voted on by the council.
It was a tie. The tie got broke
So
by the guy in
did
the
you
middle.
ever get a kind of
Trust
a hard
me, I know.
price or a rough
That's
estimate
the only
about
thing
what?
I don't like
Because
about
Jeff
you.
was gonna,
Everything else.
I hate that he's not here, and I hate Jeff can speak for himself, but we were gonna look at what that would cost, and it was talked about.
If we're looking at also an alternate saying that a way out of that, where the library is and the Brahms, it should be more than just a dirt road. I mean, something like at least
Well, it won't be.
SB2.
It won't be when it gets done.
Well, right, when it gets
Right
done,
now,
but when? That's
Now,
the question.
where you're gonna get feedback saying, well, does the city, would they like to pull in some money and help us pave and curb and gutter that? No, they would not. That's the answer there.
We've already addressed that in a meeting too. Right?
Yeah.
As
So-
far as over there off of, what's that road?
We can't pull up the map, can we?
Yeah.
So my next question then would be, as the library's going up, as Brahms is going up, I mean, I'm assuming, are we inspecting those structures as they're being built? I mean,
Chief had somebody else.
No.
I mean, I'm talking,
I can assure you it's checking all the boxes,
Okay,
boys.
yeah, we have inspections and everything. If you wanna go with me in the morning and inspect the attic of
Everything's
the
good.
sprinkler
Brahms.
system tomorrow,
Good.
Brahms.
but, I
And
mean,
the FDC, but
from
he's
the
out there, he's
from
out
the
there
sewer
every day.
all the way to the top, I mean, we're confident.
Oh, and the sewer system?
I'm talking about
Oh, I'm
everything.
not in charge of sewer system, I'm just charged of fire code. But
I-
I will
I'm
tell
gonna
you,
answer for the
right now, it
department heads.
meets.
Yes,
Okay.
I promise you.
Would I like to have a road that goes all the way through to Cedar Valley? Absolutely. And hopefully that's gonna be his next plan to come to us. But right now, we had the first, 2 phases that came in to be approved. And it meets code requirements because of the turnarounds right now. So, and both of them are sprinkled. But, you start adding stuff on through, then he's gonna have to do a through road the rest of the way. And, hopefully that's his next step. It's just like on a subdivision, you build 30 houses, over 30, you have to put a second entrance in. But on commercial, it's a little different. And so we're on top of it. In fact, I'll be out there tomorrow at Brahms. And then I actually had Travis tell me, architect last week, that suppression people showed up, wanted to start doing some stuff over at the library, and he shut them down because they hadn't even come to us to get a permit yet. And so I know even the architects watching it out there for them, so.
Sorry, I went on site with both of those projects with Hunter, last week, 2 weeks, whatever it was, and I can assure you, that the foreman on both projects were there, and they know Hunter's truck, and they were very cordial, but, yeah, they're getting checked often, not to mention fire.
I meant to say before I left, Mr. Burton made that, when the dump trucks was going in there to deliver, he made that where they can make a left-hand turn and continue out to Cedar Valley. So the road's strong enough to hold the dump trucks. If you had to take a fire truck in there, I'm sure it would be okay for now, but it's not the perfect situation. But they do take large trucks on up to Cedar Valley and come out back to 71 that way.
It would certainly handle a Honda Accord if there was a wreck there.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Might not make it to the other end with your ice cream scoop.
Now,
It may fall off in
You know,
your
I don't
lap.
wanna be talking about this 15 years from now.
I will say this,
Talking about 15 years.
we're talking about it's dry weather. Ask me that on Friday or Saturday if you can take a Honda Accord through there and it might change. So
I can tell you,
We're gonna have 2 to 4 inches of rain.
there is some dirt on the top, but you're driving on rock.
Right.
Shale.
No,
When is that happening?
none of our business.
Before they open.
Or the county library people, whoever wants to pay for it.
I was gonna say, before
Right.
they open.
There's no certificate of occupancy until that happens, right?
Well, they don't have any domestic water either.
Okay.
Anything
You
else?
gotta have a water fountain.
Yes, I was,
Yes, sir.
with the tunnel over here at the end of Main Street and the bypass, that looks great. I was just wondering, what the possibility of getting lighting inside the tunnel?
It's after the fact. I mean, anything can be done. Casey's, I don't know if you do. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, now's the best time, I guess, as any, but they're not over there, but right here on the trail by this bridge, there may be 2 poles that have to be moved while they're demo and rebuilding, but he's gonna get me, he's gonna make a final decision, I'll get with you. So, You told him no?
Can we tell him no?
No. You can, but I think they're gonna do it.
Yeah,
I think the best way to handle that is make sure that we're in charge of it and not. I got a
Store
call
it
from-
somewhere and we can put it back later.
For instance, I got a call from, and by the way, this guy's really easy to work with, Kenny Hooten from Foursquare called me the other day. He's the foreman in charge of all that. And he said, Mayor, we've got 2 memorial park benches over by the tunnel. We need to move them because we're getting ready to demo that trail section and dress it to where it goes into the tunnel. Would you want me to do it or do you want to do it? I'm like, you know what? I think I'd rather send our guys. So they did. Street Department went over there before I hung up almost and got them moved and to place them somewhere else. So the asphalt, what I thought was asphalt that you see on the Main Street connection is not truly asphalt. It's a new product that will be covered with concrete in case anybody's curious. That whole connection.
There to 96 and,
No, right here off of Main.
oh, okay,
What's black now, if you haven't been over there.
There's some over here by
There's a
that.
road, yeah, same thing
Yeah.
down here.
okay.
There's a road there, but it's not the finished product. There'll be concrete on top of that.
Their Main Street connection, have they put a time on it?
No, and I had a chance to ask, I was asking him a lot of questions the other day, and he kept saying there's no dumb question, because I was asking him about the bridge with the netting, and if you haven't noticed the orange netting, that is to keep swallows, thank you, from nesting in there from now until they demo the bridge. They inspected it, said there were none, or they got them out,
Is that
and then they put that net
I have
up.
nothing to do with birds.
we were concerned that they were getting ready to jackhammer that bridge. And
You
there's still
think with all the
traffic.
cats we've got, we wouldn't have
I
birds.
know.
We don't have any cats anymore.
I should have mentioned that too.
Yeah, we don't.
But anyway, that's what that's for. And I failed to ask what his timeline was on getting that open. I mean, he was very clear, as you all know,
Well,
that's got to be open
Yeah.
before they demo
yeah,
these
they
two
ain't demo
bridges.
nothing till that Main Street's done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're working big time getting that prepared.
Oh, I know what I meant to ask. Is we in council forum yet?
Well, you can be now.
What about all this email I'm getting from the Burgesses and the entry to his farm and all that?
I'm on top
Thank
of
you.
it, as much as it may not seem like it, but I promise you I am.
Well, I don't have any idea. I just
The
saw it.
last call, yeah, they're concerned, and I understand their concern. No, I know. So I called everybody except Jared Wiley, because I didn't want to bother him with that.
Yeah.
And everybody else was very nice, but not a lot of people had any answers for me. So I called Director Wiley and told him the concern from the Burgess family, and can we make sure that they are made happy? And he was very quick to say, let me get this to somebody that will take care of this for them. And immediately, within the next day or two, I got an email from Dane saying that he had been, I can't remember the gentleman's name, he's out of Waldron, actually contacted him and said that he will do they may not get everything that they don't try to be, they were under the impression that they're gonna get an X amount of driveways. Some of those driveways were marked on the map as access points, and some were marked as driveways. An access point for RDOT is not necessarily a driveway. It's just where the fence is.
A gate.
A gate. And so some of the family, and I understand their concern and their wishes. They're trying to get as much, they feel like they need to get what they asked for originally. And so RDOT is going to quote Dane kind of, we feel like we're gonna get at least something, maybe not everything we wanted, but they're working on it.
The only thing you're able to get in the place and get equipment in there, that's all they're asking.
Yeah, so it's being addressed.
I guess a curb jump is what the issue is. I mean, you can put a gate
Yeah,
here, but
Right. Yes, sir.
Just point of reference, Hunter just, said that the RDOT has said that they're getting ready to transition from Center Street over to the bypass soon.
Yeah,
So, I don't know what soon is, but
yeah.
apparently it's on their radar, so.
I could probably call him tomorrow to get a, yeah.
So at the Center Street and 96, is that going to be just again like it is right now, stop sign and yield signs, or
it's supposed to have a traffic signal there in the end game.
in game?
I don't know how they're gonna do it if they think they're that close to putting traffic on it.
Yeah.
Cause they haven't stubbed.
Well, bridge down, right? Yeah.
Sonny, what happens to Old Highway 10 when it is in between? Does that become ours? From right here to
From Bill
Keith
Glass Autos to,
Yeah, to the bridge that's not going to be there anymore.
Are they going to take out the asphalt, or are they going to?
No, they're gonna crush the asphalt and leave it and then build over it.
they'll
Talking about right here,
resurface it
but-
to brand new.
Talking about the old Highway 10 right
It's
here.
between the bridges.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're gonna crush the material. I mean, he told me this very specifically the other day on the phone, that road bed will be crushed and left in place, and then they'll build on top of it.
Build what?
So, yeah, so what we've always,
No, he's just wanting to know what's gonna happen from 96 to First National Bank, basically.
yeah, so what we've all questioned, I have, what you see, you've got the road we're driving on, right, between the bridges. And then you got the high side over here, which is gonna be the new road, right? And then they came along and built up down on the Burgess's property up to the existing road. and I've questioned that many times, so the answer I got the other day with Mr. Hooton was the edge of that is near over into the Burgess property. That will be, I'm sorry, this is pitiful. That will be where they will build, that's the edge, and it'll slope up to the new highway. That's a big
Yeah.
slope, but that's what he literally.
Access point.
That's what he said.
Driveway.
So that will all be built up, covered over, and that's how wide the slope is up to the new highway on that side. I don't know that. Well,
There's 9 acres is theirs. That's what they were wanting us to fill in.
yeah, there's property that
Originally.
we own due to the right of way, and that's what they're building on, and from wherever that ends, I guess that drop is. So what we do on this new section will be up to us. We can allow access to the Burgess property.
Every 4 feet.
From off of the new highway, or not the bypass, this.
Yes,
We can allow that.
yes.
They're very restricted, that's why they don't, RDOT said from the very beginning, I'm talking way back before Jared Wiley became director, when we were talking to Lori Tudor and maybe even Scott Bennett, that the access off of the bypass to their property would be limited, because that's the whole point of I remember trying to sell this idea and say, hey, that's our new economic development, and one of them, I think it was Scott Bennett, looked at me and he said, I don't think so. That's the reason you're having a bypass, right? So you get traffic out. I said,
Like the road around Poto.
yeah. So to answer your question, the road that asphalt I was kind of surprised, but makes sense, I guess. They're gonna use it, they're gonna bust it all up and use it, and then just cover it up. It won't be hauled out.
But it will be ours. From 96 all the way to 71 will be Center Street.
Yes.
If you were
That
just,
part in between there, the part that's ours, we could use it for something.
No, there won't be, that's just the right of way.
It's gonna sound like it's gonna be a
Just a big old
slope from,
slope.
The right of way,
slope.
when the right of way ends, will be Burgess from that point over to.
and see, they wanted that, they asked us to fill it in to use so they could commercialize it, and
Yeah.
we said, no, it's,
So, that makes sense?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Well, and he told me, he said, you can call me I kept saying I've got silly questions. He said, there's no silly question. I'll answer anything you got.
well, there's gonna be
Basically,
2
there's
new
not gonna-
bridges and a big slope. It looked just like it did 5 years ago in about 2 years.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
there's gonna be no kind of public access really to the vast grass or
As I was
Art
thinking,
Creek, right.
if we could use it for trail or something.
Oh, it'll be underground. When you'll have a sidewalk on both sides of this new road anyway.
Yeah.
Never enough.
Well, true, but anyway, and the 5-foot sidewalk is, if you've not been out there, I know I go out there not every day by any means, but if you've not been on that new section of bypass, there is a 5-foot sidewalk on both sides, from Britt all the way across,
Is it 5 lane all the way down through there? Or? Yeah.
and there's gonna be a 5-foot sidewalk on each side?
both sides. Now, when it extends from Pink Bud all the way to 71, that will be a 5-foot on one side and a 10-foot on one side. But between bridges, it's just 5 and 5.
Now, this bridge right here is gonna have a 10-foot sidewalk on this side that matches that one, down there by
Between the
Cliff Glass.
bridge, between here and 96, I'm sorry, I may have spoke too soon. I think so, isn't it, Hunter? Are you looking at it? I think it does, Rod. I can't remember which side the 10's on.
Well, the one they just built, it's on this side, so I'd assume this one would be on this side, and
Okay. Yeah.
Why are we 5 laning that all the way?
Why are we? We're not, they are.
Why are they 5 laning that all the way?
That says because he says we will not, this is years ago, he said, we're not gonna come in there and build something that will be outdated in 10 years or 20 years.
We just told us we couldn't put any commerce on it. We need turn lane for. The tractor to lane to get in there? EMS.
Yeah, you got all 4 lanes piled up, you got EMS to drive right down the middle.
It's true. That's a great answer. I'm sticking with that.
Okay, I'll buy that. That's what the chief would have said.
That's
I
true.
mean, I get having a turn lane at Maine and when you get close to Coker and out here, but you waste a whole lot of money making the fifth lane if we can't develop, which I don't think we should either. I get it, it's a bypass. Or
You
truck
got-
route.
You got those bridges and wrecks, it's hard to get around.
Yeah.
Right down the center.
Well, the other day I went out, I didn't ambulance chase, I happened to be going to Fort Smith anyway, when that wreck happened at the light. And I got out there and I don't know who was doing, well, we were there obviously with the ladder truck. And it parked in that turn lane. Once it was cleaned up and who was driving, I don't know. But it pulled over there and parked for a few moments while things cleared out and allowed traffic to go on both sides.
Yeah.
If it hadn't, if they couldn't have done that, it'd been a bigger mess.
But from Pink Bud out to 71, I mean, every home that's there right now is going to have be able to get off
Oh,
of
yeah.
the bypass, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're going to need to have
Yeah.
Yeah.
the 4 lanes really for those
And-
people getting
and-
off.
And as you've heard my sermon on where I think next development could or should take place is out there on the on the south side of 10, between here and 71. All that pasture land, I mean, I can't dictate what it is, but I know there's already parties trying to sell that property off for development.
Well, there's some parties fighting, I get it every week from
That's-
the
I'm
lady
sure.
out there at the Church of Christ.
I'm sure.
Y'all fixing to annex me? Maybe.
Oh, the church?
No, the lady that lives right behind the church.
Oh.
Gosh, doggy, what's her?
Yeah.
Mrs. Nixon, is it?
Yes, sir. Miss Dixon?
She's selling her road frontage.
She's selling, yeah,
Oh.
she's kind of, I don't know if she's excited, but she's been on board from day one, Miss
Yeah.
Dixon. Yeah.
Different subject than the road, and I'll try to make it real quick. AC and myself ate lunch with the 2 ISO auditors for Arkansas. Actually, they do more than Arkansas. And we're at the fire convention, and they were inquisitive of stuff. Stuart was sweating. He's probably still, if we get an audit, it's because of me and AC. But they were asking us what's been working in Greenwood and what we're doing, and they were very, very interested in our shift work. And I thought that itself was gonna prompt an audit. But we talked about where we were struggling, and they give us some suggestions about putting some of your volunteer system on a shift work, where you just assign them a shift and pay them like $4 an hour to just take that block of time. And he said, because our fire departments, they were both from Benton and Bryant, and some of them are still in Haskell, and Haskell's growing. And they said it worked in Haskell. And they said it really worked well, that these guys would take that, and it caused them to quit getting zeros. So I think me and AC will probably follow up over the fire department, so we may bring back a policy change that probably shouldn't have any budgetary, there shouldn't be anything that'd affect the budget. I think we can do it within the existing budget.
We're doing that to an extent.
We're not doing that part where we're talking about more medical. We're not doing, so they had it where they were doing 2 shifts.
Yeah.
You accepted 5 to midnight and midnight to 5.
Okay.
And then you would get a fee if you were to accept that shift. And when you accepted that shift, you accept that you're not leaving the city limits of Greenwood, and that you'll go to every call that happens between 5 and midnight, or if you accepted the midnight to 5. And they said it really works. So these are the ISO guys.
Yeah.
And so that was really interesting when me and AC were listening to him. So we may bring that up to Stuart and see if we can help, if that would help us out on some of our problems.
When you give that information to him, can you be somewhat,
It would on there where you wouldn't get no.
here's something that might work, don't just turn him loose if you
You
don't,
get the response, because they would be there.
on me.
Yeah, they would give them a response.
You know what,
Yeah,
if you know
see,
what I
that's what I'm
mean.
getting at, because he was saying before you wasn't getting any response.
Right, so
But
they're,
you will on this.
yeah, so they're.
So it's got advantages.
Anything
we
else?
just accept that shift.
Council
like 25
forum?
or 30.
Just one thing. When we're getting rid of our planning jurisdiction, we need to document the things that arise because of that, because there's gonna be some pushback on that. There just has to be. It's a disaster brewing right now for lots of communities that can have no subdivision, extension beyond the city limits. All,
Well, all it tells me is you need to start trying harder to annex stuff. Because here's the deal, if the state's not gonna let you have a planning district, then you're gonna have to figure out how to soften up on their stupid annexation rules. Now, I can tell you this, the city of Fort Smith doesn't care about rules. You'll get a letter in the mail from them that says, how you doing, Steve? We're annexing your property. You got 2 months.
Yeah.
They don't care about enclave and all that junk, and I don't wanna hear that they do.
Did you attend that at AML?
I don't think I got to that section of it.
Greenwood is in a better place than most cities around the state, according to Mr. Von Tuglen, because we have an ordinance in place that says if a subdivision outside of our planning jurisdiction, which is no more outside our city limits, wants to build a subdivision and has to have our services, they have to be annexed. So that, then they come under our subdivision regulations. He says we're very fortunate to have that because that protects us. But as it stands right now, the cities of our size, our planning jurisdiction ends at the city limits.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, you just extend your city limits if you're mad about not having a planning district.
And at AML, they said, you can whine, you can cry, you can beat your chest and all that, but the state says this is the way it's gonna be, and he says, you might as well get over it. He says, we're gonna continue to fight to get some of it back, but he says, you know, it could be 2 or 3 sessions from now.
Well, but I'm just saying that as, you know, as things happen, document those things carefully. If, you know, somebody splits a lot out there and puts septic on it and you end up with some of that incremental stuff, just document the impact on the city because that they need that documentation to help with their case.
Well, it's like this area out here on 96 that put some roads in and it's just sitting out there in the mini-ponds and not doing anything.
That's the reason why they're sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah.
They can't get water.
No.
They, you know, he came to us and was gonna do this
Yeah.
big subdivision.
Yeah,
We said,
baby.
okay, we need roads, we need curb and gutter, we need street lights and all that. And he said, whoa.
Yeah.
And so he says, well, what happens if we do 5-acre lots? I said, well, they're state-sized lots, and if you can get, and he wanted water, and I said, the closest water we've got is at Eastgate.
Yep.
You wanna run a pipe from there all the way out there? I said, you know, come, you send us the plan.
Yeah.
Well, we can't afford that, and I said, well, you can't get our water. And so he goes to Milltown, Washburn, and they send him a letter, says, we will not connect another house onto our water system.
Correct.
And so they're sitting out there with this property,
Nice
with
roads.
roads, and he assures me that he has had it perk test, and it tested good.
That's great.
And he said he has drilled wells, and the health department has approved them, but have you seen any houses being built out there?
No, there's no water.
No.
What
What water's there, where's that water coming
You
from?
can put on well water, I guess.
Well, it's
the old dump.
right over the mines. I mean,
Right.
No, the old dump, city dump.
Yeah,
Right
like
on
that.
the other side, yeah.
But he said the health department passed it, so who knows?
I don't think I'll.
Okay, thank you, Sonny. Anything else for the council or for anybody? Don't, but thank you. If not,
I'll make a motion with adjourn, Mr. Mayor. You're welcome. Love you too.
thank you all very much.